He's it down to Velasquez. He's it down
the left side, and you can see Bersonia with
inside almost the 18. Ball in, Pay rises up, cleared away, and a shot.
Doing a good job, and he's just kind of standing.
It's a momentous night for soccer on the Monongahela River. Welcome to Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, PA, ladies and gentlemen. This is Matt Geica alongside John Krasinski, coming to you from near the point where, for the first time ever, Highmark Stadium will host a playoff matchup. This is the 100th game in the history of this 5-year-old facility. Hounds fans and, well, Hounds players and management have been waiting a long time for this one, and it's great to be able to present it to you tonight on ESPN Plus and Pittsburgh CW. Locally. For the Hounds, John, it was a turnaround season. After 2 years out of the playoffs, back into it, finished third in the Eastern Conference, and a big reason for that is the man at the top of the formation, Nico Brett.
Yeah, Nico Brett, clinical, calm under pressure, in the box, has gotten the job done this year for the Hounds.
Brett, a couple of goals in the first meeting against Bethlehem Steel and one more in the return matchup in September. So Brett just finishing inside the top 10 in USL goals. What a season for the former Robert Morris Colonial, who played his soccer here and starred as a collegian. As for Dan Lind, the Riverhounds keeper, well, when you talk the Hounds, you got to talk defense, right? And speaking of local college product, he played just up the road at the University of Pittsburgh, and the resume is impressive, as you see right there on your screen. The best goals against average in a single season in Hounds history, 12 clean sheets. What have you seen from Dan this year, John?
Yeah, again, he's calm, composed in the box. The man, he's the guy that the Riverhounds have really relied on. Has had his opportunity to be a starter this year, and has made the most of his opportunity.
24 years old, Dan Lind, really impressive stuff. Even missing a month due to injury late in the regular season. Well, speaking of late, Bethlehem Steel, they're trying to play spoilers tonight, and that would just mean keeping up their recent pace. Bethlehem finished on an 8-3-2 run, took themselves from out of the postseason field in the Eastern Conference right into it. And, John, as I mentioned, the Steel had their struggles against the Hounds, but against everybody else, they're pretty darn good.
They're solid. They've won the games they need to win. Now they've gotten themselves in the playoffs. Head coach Brendan Burke has found a good balance. Even though he has a lot of young players, he's got some experienced players as well. Somebody like James Chambers, the captain, to rely on as well. They're going to give a challenge. They're going to be a challenge for the Riverhounds tonight. Absolutely.
6 teenagers in the starting 11 for Bethlehem, so we'll see what they're made of in the cauldron that will be a roiling Highmark Stadium tonight. Well, you just heard the reasons why we're looking forward to this one. We hope you enjoy the broadcast tonight. We'll be back with the opening kick as playoffs begin in Pittsburgh this evening.
Season tickets for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC 2019 season are on sale now. And it's the most affordable season ticket in town. Season tickets start at only $99. Buy before October 31st to lock in early bird pricing. Don't miss any of the action as the Hounds look to follow up their sensational 2018 season at Highmark Stadium. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
Hello, Shanti. How are you
Hi,
today?
Rose. Good, thank you.
How's this pressure for you? Okay?
Yes.
I'm going to do nice and light today for you.
Visit ahn.org/cancer to learn more about the Cancer Institute at Allegheny Health Network.
It's proper football weather at Highmark Stadium, and we've been waiting for this one for a long time. I'm Matt Geico alongside John Krasinski. Thank you for watching this evening on ESPN Plus nationwide, also on Pittsburgh CW locally. The USL Cup playoffs actually began last night, and we have some results from earlier today to bring your way, including one in particular that'll interest Riverhounds fans and Steel fans for that matter. Cincinnati, John Krasinski, has advanced on penalty kicks at home, 6-5 in the PK shootout. Both of those goals, by the way, were scored in extra time, a real nail-biter to start the Eastern Conference bracket.
And you took the words out of my mouth. Nail-biter, absolutely. Kenny Walker converted for Cincinnati, and they will move on. The USL playoffs are here. They're here, Matt. It's just nothing better. Nothing beats single elimination soccer games.
We'll look at Bethlehem Steel's starting 11, and as I mentioned before the break, 6 of these men are very young men. They are teenagers. You see Ferris there at the top of the formation, 3 goals and 2 assists, the 18-year-old from Cameroon. Aronson, though, an intriguing prospect, no doubt, for the Union. Jake McGuire back there between the sticks. No shock in that spot. And speaking of no shocks, there you go, Daniel Lind getting the start for the Hounds, 25 in the regular season. Thomas Vonkie-Azil lined up on the outside, it appears here, for head coach Bob Lilyjohn. That'll be an interesting look. He played there a couple of times this year, mostly in the middle. Today, the tactics are a little bit different, though.
Well, with Vonkie-Azil, the Hounds try to be, he's so versatile, so they can use him wherever. He has played that position, though, a number of times this year.
I don't want to make this broadcast too much of a history lesson, but it's only natural, so we'll bring you some of the fun facts and figures here tonight as things get rolling, and we have begun in Pittsburgh. The first USL playoff game in Highmark Stadium history is here. The Hounds are in the black and the gold, and Bethlehem Steel in the predominantly white kicks as it's served on down the pitch here, running onto it. Galena overwhelmed, though, by Thomas Vonkie-Azil, having some trouble as Tommy V, the French rookie, but now he backs it out and slings it up the touchline.
Nice job by Thomas navigating the ball in with a little bit of pressure with his back to the ball.
Bethlehem is one of the higher scoring teams in USL, averaging 1.65 goals per game. And the Hounds were the best defending team in the 33-team circuit. Well, that looked like it might have gone out, but no, it's ruled to be in play. That would have been a good break for the Hounds to get a quick corner, but not to be. Pittsburgh went 9-2-7 on this home surface this year in USL action. Mohamed Dabo volleys it forward, and out to grab it here is Jake McGuire, the 24-year-old from Pennsylvania. McGuire, 5 clean sheets on the year. He played a lot late in the regular season. For Brendan Burke, the Steel head coach, it's a matter of adjustments because his roster, his lineup is dependent on the Philadelphia Union and what they have going on. As Forbes can't handle this one of the veterans for the Hounds, Kenardo Forbes, USL Cup champion in 2015 with the Rochester Rhinos. More on that in a moment as Chambers will loft this one in the air, bouncing free. Jordan Dover heads it, but not clear. Trying to gather and fire one. We have the first shot on goal of this match. Santi Moar put it on target, but no trouble for Dan Lind.
Looked like one bounce, and Moar tried to one-time it. Didn't get enough on it, and a pretty easy one for Lind.
The last time these two teams met, Pittsburgh outshot Bethlehem 24-6 and outscored them 4-1. Brett had a goal in that game. Can't get by the defending of Mbaizo. Olivier Mbaizo, 21-year-old Cameroonian, on that Steel back line. There goes Jordan Dover running over, but he'll let this one go out on the river side of the pitch for a throw-in. Different look on that far side, John, with the advertising boards up. Also, we'd be remiss in not mentioning the fact that the Steel Army has a bigger boat built for them.
They do. And the additional 1,400 seats are sitting back there in the Paul Child stand.
Yes. And speaking of Paul Child,
yes,
we're sad to say that Paul can't be here tonight. Gene Klein, also our frequent color commentator, can't be here tonight. Gene had a prior engagement with U.S. Soccer. Paul Child is being recognized at the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame down in Frisco, Texas, for his involvement in the North American Soccer League, primarily the first iteration of it. Here goes Nico Brett running onto the ball into the corner. 1v1 against Ben Ofemu, and out for a corner kick.
Fantastic work. Sorry, fantastic work there by Nico Brett to at least get some contact and knock the ball off. I could not see from that angle who that was from the Steel, but to knock the ball off him and set up that first corner kick.
Ben Zemansky will take it. Former MLS champion with the Portland Timbers. Outswinger Greenspan put it just wide. And John, we've seen Joe Greenspan chip in on corner kicks, on set pieces lately. He had 3 goals all in the last 2 months of the season, all off set pieces.
Definitely, he's getting more confident. At that time, he didn't put it on frames. Got to get it on frame. He came to the near post. It just didn't get a good solid contact on that one.
I talked to Joe Greenspan at training on Wednesday. He was raring to go at that point. This whole Hounds team, though, is reinvigorated by the start of the postseason. It was a grueling end of their year, 4 out of 5 on the road. And they already locked up everything they could lock up in terms of at least home advantage.
A lot of energy. Yeah, a lot of energy in this building right now, Matt, and they're trying to feed off of that.
So here is the Hounds Zemansky backtracking. Or pardon, that's Greenspan. The former Navy midshipman Greenspan sends it high into the chilly air here in downtown Pittsburgh. We're right on the south side of the Steel City, and the Hounds are playing the Steel. It all seems very fitting this evening as the ball caroms in on Jake McGuire. And it's been really heartwarming to see the entire town reach out and get excited for the USL Cup playoffs. We saw the Hounds honored at a Pittsburgh Penguins game just this past week. We'll get to that in a little bit later at halftime. Foul called against Pittsburgh, and Zemansky is upset. He says that was a bot call, but referee Michael Radchuk, first time we're seeing him, disagrees.
Yeah, Zemansky stood him up. There was a little contact. He tried to put the hands up, you know, innocent, I didn't do it, hands up, but there was a little bit of contact, enough for the call.
Well, we just saw Jordan Dover test those new advertising boards in front of the river seats. No worse for the wear as Dover. Now Vonkiazil heads it toward the middle a little bit dangerously, but a handball there against Brendan Aronson, the 17-year-old Union Academy player, and one of the Steel is down. That's Michi Galina, 18-year-old from the Republic of Congo, and out comes Akira Umeki, the Steel's athletic trainer, to check on him.
Yeah, the Hounds tried a quick restart there, but of course, Molina down. We'll give a little time. Zemansky is having a few words with the official right now as well.
Dan Lynn comes over to at least take a cursory check. Well, let's talk Bob Lilly, John, because we wanted to see what his tactics were. There was plenty of talk of tactics, of X's and O's this week at practice. Kenardo Forbes saying it's important to stick to the game plan because Bob's been there. He's coached 18 years of pro soccer. He's never missed the playoffs, first and foremost. He's a USL Cup champ with Rochester in 2015. USL First Division champ in 2006 with the Vancouver Whitecaps too. And in the last 3 years in USL, it's either been a Bob Lilly team winning it all, or you have to go through a Bob Lilly team to win it all. 2 years ago with New York Red Bulls, and last year with Louisville, they had to go through Rochester.
Absolutely. I would say, other than FC Cincinnati this year, I think across the league, most coaches will tell you the toughest team to beat is the Riverhounds. And that's the type of team that Bob Lilly has tried to mold here. And you're going to see that tonight. I think they're not going to give much space, and that's where it starts. It starts in the back. They're going with a back four tonight. You've got Greenspan and Hugh Roberts in the middle, Thomas Venke Azil on the left, Jordan Dover on the right, with Dabo. And we're seeing Canardo Forbes right now playing a little deeper than he's been for much of the August-September run, where the Hounds were playing pretty exciting attacking soccer. So I think tonight they're sitting back a little bit. They're defending, and they're going to be looking for those chances to get forward fast and quick and try to get an early goal.
There you see Galena is off the pitch, looking shaky though, maybe a facial injury. And the AT Umeki is dabbing at his face right now as Dan Lynn sends this one deep. The Hounds attacking down to our left. Kind of a dodgy touch from Bethlehem, but the Steel survived that. Ferris tries to drag it along. He can't. Dabo sends it well too far into the Hounds' dugout as Bob Lilly shouts those instructions.
Little mishit there by Dabo. He tried the outside of his foot, tried to play the ball wide, and it was just not a good touch.
Bethlehem Steel finished the season on a roll, unbeaten in 4. The Hounds are winless in 4 coming into this as Greenspan takes a hard bump there from Ferris and properly called as a foul against Ferris, who was signed in July and carries a 2-game goal streak into this one. He's come alive, just 18 years old, but that time bumping into Greenspan, and the Riverhounds get the benefit of that call.
Yeah, they're pushing high. They're playing a high line. You know, the Hounds play a high line an awful lot and definitely want to do that tonight, but we're seeing that from the Steel as well.
This is the field to play a high line because there's not a lot of room to run, so you can bottle in a defender in some trouble quite easily. Dover tries to put this one back against the grain, but Bethlehem on the takeaway. Running onto it is Matt Rial, and here comes Dan Lind as Greenspan was shoved. And Greenspan is approaching Ferris here, who apparently wanted to get his pound of flesh on the retaliation, it looked like. Wow, and now Ferris reaching for his face.
Really interesting sequence there. Ferris definitely behind Greenspan as Greenspan was going towards the ball, put both arms out, pushed Greenspan. I don't know what was said or what was going on before that, but here we'll take a look at it now. Yeah, a little push there of Greenspan.
I can't believe that's not a yellow card.
Surprising.
That's pretty blatant.
Very surprising.
Michael Radchuk, though, is content to just offer the verbal warning to Ferris. Ball up in the air, and James Chambers, 31-year-old Irishman, captain of the Steel team, slugs it out of trouble. Lind, speaking of trouble, was out beyond the 18. It looked like he didn't realize it for a moment, but did make the good play to get rid of it. Now Venke Azil galloping upfield. Venke Azil, the 23-year-old French rookie out of the University of Charleston, West Virginia. He's been a revelation this year as Forbes gets called for the holding infraction here, even though he was the one who ended up with his back on the soggy pitch. Well, no, it looks like we may have a missed signal. That's what it was from Michael Radchuk. He pointed the wrong way, and now Chambers is wondering, well, what gives?
Yeah, the intensity is pretty high right now, Matt. I mean, both teams are fighting for every inch. There's every 50-50 ball, we're seeing that. Canardo was not giving in, and in that case, held his own, held off with the ball, and was knocked to the ground.
So Forbes, who set career best with 4 goals and 8 assists this season, wants to get another helper here, looking for Francois, but it's cleared down and out. Here's Hugh Roberts, USL veteran, driving that one out into touch. 12th minute. Pittsburgh and Bethlehem, first round of the USL Cup playoffs. I am Matt Geica, alongside John Krasinski. of Pittsburgh Soccer Now fame. We're so happy to be with you in the 100th match in Highmark Stadium history, counting U.S. Open Cup, counting friendlies, counting league play, and for the first time counting playoffs. Here's Brett rising high. Heading it, Zemansky on the gather. No, he can't quite take it there, and Fontana will for Bethlehem. But another giveaway to the Hounds back line, and Greenspan flagged down nicely by Zemansky, but the pressure's on him. You see those young legs for Bethlehem closing down the space. Dabo gave it up in the middle, but the Hounds will get the benefit of that carom. Tommy V, a little too much on that. You can see the players a little juiced up here, John.
Absolutely, both sides, and especially the Riverhounds trying to play it out of the back. They're just not composed right now. They really haven't gotten into any sort of rhythm.
Roberts bodies up against Ferris. Fontana slips it forward, but just briefly. Here's Santi Moar. Moar wide. Here comes an attempted cross. It's off a Hound's foot, and it's our first corner for Bethlehem Steel here on the road tonight. They'll be setting up shop right in front of the Steel Army. It's gold out at Highmark Stadium, in case you didn't notice from the crowd shots.
Jordan Dover there, got his foot out to deny the cross attempt. The Hounds were pretty well in place there. I think Dover was a little frustrated with himself. I think he wanted to get his body in front of it. Instead, had his foot, couldn't really control that cross in, and Bethlehem Steel playing it short.
Here they go, Real toward the spot, and there's Hugh Roberts to clean up the mess. Roberts, native of Maryland, 25 years old, second on the team in clears this year. And so many of these Hounds players are first-year Riverhounds, and so many of those are former Rochester Rhinos, who Coach Lilly knows very well from his previous stint. 2 stints up in Western New York, in fact, for Bob. Jordan Dover's one of them, Cristiano Francois another, Canardo Forbes, the midfield conductor, has maybe been the most important of those transplants. Boy, more nervousness from Bethlehem this time. Dover takes the give and go from Francois. Jordan Dover just inside the sideline to Dabo. Dabo to Forbes running the show with the captain's armband on. Bunky Azil and Greenspan. The Hounds gave up 8 goals all year at home in 17 league matches. Easily the smallest total in the USL. Referee says play on, as here's Dover seeking out Romeo Parks, the enigmatic one. Parks, 5 goals in the regular year. He'll take this throw. Romeo, the 3rd-year Hound. He's quite the story in and of himself. The 1-year FIFA suspension. Served 2 years ago, back with Pittsburgh last season, and he's had his moments of brilliance.
And he's a player to watch out for. If the Riverhounds can get the ball forward into space to him, he's so dangerous out, especially in those wide spaces, Matt.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent in that category against Cincinnati, the last home game of the year. He really stretched out those long legs. Francois was called for the foul here. A bit of a spike taken by Matt Real, but he appears to be okay.
Things have calmed down just a tad here. We're going to see now which team's going to command the middle of the field. It still doesn't really have a feel one way or another right now.
Dabo, Zemansky, and Brett up ahead in the Bethlehem side of the pitch. Chambers looking near his side for Galena, who's back into the match, by the way. Forbes takes this from Parks. Dabo, native of Senegal. Mohamed Dabo playing in the holding midfield once again. Roberts and now Greenspan. Joe Greenspan, MLS experience with Colorado. This is his first playoff match as a professional. Galena. Here's Roberts going over the top of Ferris. Play continues on. Greenspan tracking back. Galena, the volley to the middle. Aronson can't get on the end of it. And now Cristiano Francois, the man they call Cheetah, can't get his feet moving on that possession, but he'll head upfield now as the Hounds switch it up. Near side, Parks with the pass from Brett going behind him. Parks and Brett and Forbes, all Jamaican natives. And as we said in the open, Nico Brett, local college product, just like the keeper Dan Lind. Brett played and starred for Robert Morris University. And Dan Lind is Pitt's all-time leader in keeper minutes. Roberts spins this one into the attacking third. Romeo Parks, Hounds really haven't had a decent crack at goal yet, besides the Greenspan header off the corner. Nothing from the run of play, though.
Philly Union well organized in that 4-2-3-1.
Oh, taking a chance there. Ferris off the volley. Hey, why not, right? If it goes, you're a hero. 17th minute. Nothing on the board yet.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Hounds really haven't had a crack at that. They haven't been able to do much in the final third. I think they just need to be a little bit more patient. Like, as I said earlier, they are bringing Conardo Forbes a little deeper, maybe to initiate the attack from the midfield, but it's just so far they haven't done much in the final third.
Szymanski stripped by Chambers, but Forbes takes it right away from Aronson. Francois turns on the Jets, wants to cross it. It's deflected into the area and comes free for Parks to lay it off to Forbes, and his shot is blocked. The Steel team does block a lot of attempts, third most in the league, in fact. Parks doggedly battling there to win it back. Romeo Parks using the big frame. And now he gets some help from his countryman, Forbes. King Kenny off to Dabo, and right back inside to Vunky Azil. Here's Brett striking it back against the grain, but didn't get a lot on it. And the clear from Steel.
Much more patience by the Hounds there, much more patience, and it orchestrated a little bit more penetration into the box.
That's the first time they've looked composed in the attacking third, not rushing things. Francois, 4 goals, 5 assists on the year. Strong cross to Parks, heads it down, and Brett just a step slow to catch up to that redirection. Goal kick Bethlehem.
I'm not sure if he needed to leave his feet, maybe come try to win the ball, just go through the ball there.
And here's a replay for you.
Yep.
Courtesy of our friends at Vista. Ryan Rose on the switch tonight.
If he gets inside the defender there, Romeo Parks, maybe he can draw a foul in that situation. He goes up for the ball. And you're right, Brett wasn't quite ready to
he just couldn't
respond
quite
to
jump
that.
on it.
Yeah.
Brett, 15 goals in the regular year, but slowed down at the end of the season. He had 2 real bursts of goals. And he had 3 of them against this Steel team. Ferris can't get by the defending of Hugh Roberts of Pittsburgh. Forbes finds an open man. That's Szymanski. The Hounds now systematically working it, but that's an errant touch from Dabo. Forces the keeper, Lind, to catch up to it. Dan Lind, as it stands, currently has the lowest goals against average in Riverhounds history after 1 season. 13 clean sheets. And he had the Golden Glove in his grasp, John, until the last match of the season. Let in 2 at Red Bulls 2. And so it was Newton of Cincinnati who took that honor. But Lind was a stalwart all year.
Absolutely. Dan Lind has been cool and calm under a lot of pressure. And, some games he hasn't had a lot of pressure, but he still has been solid. He's been coming out of the box quite a bit tonight. So far, so good for him. But there one time, there was a little bit of a miscommunication with him and Joe Greenspan, but they were able to avoid pressure.
Lind rolls it out and sends a back spinner. Chambers seems to be in on every battle for the ball. That time he was shoved from behind, rules the referee. Nico Brett, the guilty party. Just saw a crazy fact, John, about the Bethlehem Steel. They've played 100 matches in their lifespan, 3 years in the USL. They've had 98 different starting lineups for those 100 matches. So Brendan Burke has been the coach since the beginning. He's done great work to get this team to the playoffs the last 2 years.
They are right there every year. The 3 years that they've been in the USL, and the last 2 years they've been in the playoffs. This is a solid, they have a solid group of players and a lot of depth, as we've seen in recent years, playing a lot of even academy players against the Riverhounds last year in 1 game.
One lineup earlier this year for Mr. Burke. The average age was under 19 years old. And they aren't just young players, they're talented players, of course, and we're starting to see that in Philadelphia at the MLS level. So many of their regulars have gone through both the academy and now the USL team in Bethlehem Steel FC.
And Brendan Aronson signed as a homegrown player last month. So for the Union, and of course we see him out there tonight in that attacking midfield spot.
Moore's in the corner. Where's this call going to go? Goal kick, Pittsburgh. And I would like to mention, while we're talking about Bethlehem, there's a watch party going on at the Galazzo House in Eastern PA. So hello to all of you watching along on ESPN+. And I mentioned one of the few times we have a local broadcast affiliate picking up the game, Pittsburgh CW. It's tremendous to spread the word on the Hounds and the USL in general. A growing league, a league that's got more talent than ever. Bonky Azil lets this one bound out. And as this playoff match settles in, yeah, we can take some time to appreciate the growth of this league. Since 2011, when it was known as USL Pro, that's the most recent reorganization. It's been onward and upward ever since. Need ball in the air, and Galena can't handle. He's had plenty of touches for Bethlehem. Dabo steps in to win that tackle. Here comes Romeo Parks with a head of steam. Lays it square. Francois just inside the area. Cristiano Francois, a couple step over moves. Now the cross. And it's headed clear out for a corner kick. But that was Ben Ofemu and also Matt Real on the outside that Francois was working against. He's so dangerous when he works 1v1.
First time tonight, the Hounds want to give Francois more opportunities like that. That's what he needs to do. He needs to create havoc out there. And we got another corner kick.
Steel Army pounds their feet on the newsstands. A header back across the face of goal, and it's off the crossbar. It was Nico Brett.
I think it was Hugh Roberts, actually.
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, there is the flat top of Hugh Roberts who got in.
Hugh Roberts got there. He got good contact on that.
Yes, number 6, not 9 for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And, well, it would have been a tough save for McGuire if it had been on frame and just barely off it.
Well, that's it. Francois sets it up with a little work on the outside, sets up a corner kick, and then the Hounds have to take advantage of those set pieces, and they've been doing better at that in the last month or so of the season.
Yes, remember, as of Labor Day weekend, they had not had a set-piece goal all year.
Right.
Scored one at Indy, Joe Greenspan. Scored one here against Bethlehem, Joe Greenspan. And scored one at New York Red Bulls 2 this past Sunday, also Mr. Greenspan.
I think Roberts has one earlier in the year at Ottawa.
That one was kind of up in the air. I'm not sure it was actually counted as a set-piece goal.
Right.
I remember the one you're talking about as Lynn handles this.
That's right.
Because Pratzner played the corner kick back, the Hounds defender, and eventually Roberts volleyed it home. But yes, it hasn't been a fruitful area of the game for much of the year. There goes Parks, one of those trademark flick-on headers. Finds his good friend Nico Brett. Nico working one-on-one here on the side against Maloney. Serves it on back, does Brett. Dabo stepping to. And Brett just outside the area. Brett looking for a runner, he has him, and a score! Ben Zemansky on the end of that one, and it's 1-0 Riverhounds. He's gonna break his rusty cage and run all the way to the corner, and maybe out of the stadium. Pittsburgh has the lead in the 25th minute. What a cross, what a finish.
What composure, too. What composure to get that ball right and connected with Zemansky. Zemansky was prepared. He had his eye on the ball the whole way, set himself in position, and then just nice, calmly placed it right in the back of goal. Terrific, terrific effort there.
Nico plays setup man. We talked all about his goal scoring. Don't forget he had 7 assists this regular season. Make it 8, counting the playoffs. And it's the man from Akron. Zemansky has Pittsburgh roots, by the way, as you well know, John.
Yep.
Played in the MLS, over 130 appearances at that level. And an MLS Cup champion with Portland Timbers in 2015. All that is window dressing, though. He has put the Riverhounds up in their first ever playoff match here at home, at Highmark Stadium, that is. And the press box was shaking, as it sometimes does. And the Hounds have the first one. That's step one to getting a victory here in the opening round of the postseason.
They've got to be ready right now. Be ready for that quick response from the Steel, though.
And the Steel powered now by Aronson. Over to Matt Real, who puts it right back into the mix here. Reaching for it, potentially, was in Galena, but well away from him. And Greenspan had him boxed out anyway, so that's into the capable hands of Dan Lind. 25th minute goal for the Riverhounds. Zemansky from Brett. Ben Zemansky, who had 2 goals in the regular year, both late too, so he's been getting the scoring touch.
And in just having a bigger role in the attack. He played a lot more as more of a holding midfielder earlier in the year. It took a while for him to kind of get going with his new teammates and everything here, but he's been instrumental in the attack, Matt.
Speaking of the attack, here comes Parks. Can he make it too? He'll give to Zemansky. Big save and just wide. What a stop from McGuire.
Fabulous effort by McGuire. Fabulous. Zemansky put that right where he needed to put it. Parks with a nice little step over, got the ball over to Zemansky. Zemansky, he's got to keep taking those shots when he has those opportunities from just inside the box. It seems like that's his spot.
You hear the rumble of stomping feet. Riverhounds with their 4th corner. McGuire, can he handle it? Yes. A little bit of a bobble, but not enough to cause trouble for visiting Bethlehem. Suddenly the Hounds are coming on. Here's a bounding ball, but on this artificial surface, Ferris is never going to be able to catch up to that one.
And that looked like a little bit of a mismatch there, because Ferris was, I think he had beaten Dabo down. I think he had him by about a step or 2. Dabo was trying to keep up with him, but he's a handful. Ferris is a handful up top.
Very physical, talented player. Ferris, I mentioned one name only. Only the best get that honor. Greenspan, and yeah, the Union hoping that Ferris is establishing himself as an option for them in the future. As for right now, he's Bethlehem's beast at the top. This is Roberts, former All-Pro defender when he was a Richmond kicker. So the burst of energy from the goal has apparently subsided a little bit here as the Riverhounds, well, they'll be glad to possess at this moment. They haven't really outpossessed Bethlehem by much in the season series. It was just a shade over 50% in both of the regular season matchups, one in August out the campus of Lehigh University and one here in September. But the shots on goal were just disparate. It was crazy to see how much more efficient the Hounds were in creating chances from that possession. That 24-6 shellacking here and that 4-1 win for the Hounds. That stands out to me as maybe the most offensive, the most attacking we've seen this Pittsburgh team all year.
Yeah, and it was interesting. After that game, Bob Lilly was still not satisfied with some things, and especially on the defensive end. He wanted to shore things up, obviously, before the playoffs. As we see right now, they are pretty well organized back there, but we'll see if they can hold on to this.
There are other games going on. We'll get you some scores in a little bit here. Winner of this match will square off against the 2-7 matchup in the East. That's Louisville, defending champs, against Indy 11, first-year USL squad. This will be a goal kick for the Hounds. Greenspan did well to shield off Ferris one more time, and Ferris is, well, letting his opinion known to referee Radchuk. That kickoff down in Louisville at Slugger Field will be at 7:30 Eastern time, so they're just getting underway right now. Already a result in the Eastern Conference. If you're late joining us, Cincinnati wins it in penalty kicks. So the top team in the USL, as the yelling and the screaming continues on between the Bethlehem bench, the Hounds bench, the officiating crew here tonight.
Maybe the most composed person on the sidelines right now looks like Bob Lilly.
That's a rarity at times. He
Yes.
can be vocal. The guy's got energy to coach.
Oh, what a nice
days.
touch by Francois.
Great take from Cristiano, who holds up and slides it right through to Forbes. Forbes' long ball, that's off a leg, and in on McGuire.
Yeah, that was Dabo. Another tough, not a great ball off the foot of Dabo. He's got his hands up right now saying, you know, my bad, my bad.
He's not usually in the position to make those plays, but he's come through in some spots here this season when need be to bottle teams in from that holding midfield spot. Lind again gets to this one. It was Mohamed Dabo who served the long ball in against Louisville late in the regular season, John, when Nico Brett drew the penalty and Forbes polished it off. That was the most dynamic comeback of the year for the Hounds. Down 2 with 5 to go against the defending champs, and they pulled out a draw. And Dabo was behind that. Dabo also struck from long distance.
Yeah.
Back against the Tampa Bay Rowdies in August. Dover trying to defend this one and does. Deep throw for Bethlehem Steel. Santi Moar appears ready to take this. He has Aronson running. Also Ferris. Goal kick.
Under Lilly, the Hounds love to swarm the ball, especially when it's out and around the edges of the box. They like to have two defenders swarming the ball, denying anything. And that was a perfect example there in the corner. No room for Bethlehem really to do much. Well-disciplined work there by the Hounds.
Long way to go in this one, and well, you just saw that ball in the air hit a wall of wind. It's picking up down here by the river, as it sometimes does. When you play soccer into late October, you'll have some nights like this. Thankfully, at least the rain from earlier today has subsided. Zemansky tried to spray it wide, and he drew the call. And the Hounds have a ball in an attacking position on the free kick.
Yeah, the wind is playing a factor. You could see the goal kicks are just taking off towards the east end. And then for the Riverhounds playing it forward, if they play it high in the air, the ball's hanging up. Got to play the ball on the ground. To play effective soccer anyway, you got to play the ball on the ground more. I think we want to see them, the Riverhounds should be playing the ball a little bit more on the ground if they're especially playing against the wind.
They've almost survived this first half in terms of having the wind against them, and just on cue. Good stuff, John. The ball blows off the spot established by referee Radchuk.
We saw that in the FC Cincinnati-Nashville game too.
In PKs, yes, the height of tension. Forbes! Ooh, drove that one through, and again, there's Hugh Roberts in the area. Perhaps he was the intended target. And I just mentioned the rain. Here comes the rain falling from the sky. As fans scramble for ponchos and hoods. As I said at the top, it's proper football weather, no matter which kind of football you're talking about. Stuff you'll see in the Premier League and over in Europe at this time of year and later on, as well as American football. We've seen a few playoff games here for the Steelers just across the point. This is Vankiazil, pardon me. Humbyville plays it ahead. Running on and keeping it in play, Canardo Forbes. Forbes, fake to the outside, now back to the inside. Zemansky has some room, slides it to Parks. Romeo to his left foot, but heavy touch and ends up committing the foul inside the Bethlehem box.
Well done. I think the wind slowed the ball down for Forbes to get control of that ball over there. Played a beautiful ball to the middle to Zemansky. That's the kind of things that they want to do. Connect passes, get it to somebody like Romeo Parks in the box. Romeo, not a great, didn't really do much there. Not a great touch with his left foot, and the defender, well done by Bethlehem Steel.
Well, McGuire just trying to play the field position game, if you will. Speaking of American football, with the wind, he's driving some deep balls and just counting on the fact that Bethlehem will get some throws and maybe pick up some loose change as well. But this time, the foul call goes against the Steel.
A lot of whistles, Matt.
Not the most free-flowing of games here. Both teams playing physically, and you know no quarter will be spared for the duration of the night. Hounds up on a Ben Zemansky header goal off the Nico Brett cross. That came in the 25th minute. Parks, the volley, an attempted volley to himself, but couldn't get it past Ofemu. Now Francois running over to try to cover Matt Real, and he will. Dispossessed, but not legally, by the Hounds. And we get a groan and a boo from the partisans at Highmark Stadium.
The officials are trying to get control here. There's been a lot of pushing on 50-50 balls both ways. We've seen the hands going up a lot. These guys aren't giving an inch.
And we don't expect them to do so. We can talk all we want about the season series, and I have 2-0 Riverhounds, how this looked like an advantageous matchup, but both teams bringing all weapons to bear tonight. Santi Moar, an in-swinger. Hugh Roberts handles that. Bizo wants to get to it, and he will handle this throw, Bizo, after Ferris did some good work. Aronson drags it through. Aronson, just 17 years old, finished second on the team in assists. Incredible stuff. One of many academy players from the Union organization.
Steel FC really looking, when they have set pieces in the box, to Chambers and Ferris are the guys that they want to get the ball to, look like.
Dabo took it away from his counterpart, number 21, Fantana. Francois wide to the wingback, Jordan Dover, native Canadian, over to Dabo, gave him an option. Roberts bounces one. Ball not behaving for a moment, but now settled down with help from Greenspan. Final 10 minutes of the first half. We're going to have some stoppage time. You'll recall that Michi Ingalina was down for a couple of minutes, at least, due to an injury. So it won't be a hard 45 minutes is what I'm trying to tell you.
The Hounds in no hurry at this point, showing a little bit of patience right now.
Roberts, too much on that ball. Oh my. Nearly a big mistake from Matt Mahoney. And now Zemansky on the move. Zemansky square to Parks and slid off his foot. Good tackle there as the Steel converged on Pittsburgh's number 27.
Zemansky's creativity has really helped the Riverhounds, Matt.
And it's interesting as we see the Hounds on the bad end of this call. Ferris being pushed down by his own teammate. Chambers, the veteran on this team at 31 years old. He's seen the battles, including this one.
He knows a little bit about that gamesmanship, huh?
He does, as Ferris runs through and got a stiff arm from Canardo Forbes. Maybe a poke in the eye for his efforts too.
Yeah, he's definitely shaken up, but we'll get up. Again, it's like everything in the midfield today, it's just been a fierce battle. I mean, we've got a long way to go. Yeah, we got another 50+ minutes of that. I can only imagine.
And if you are saying that that player doesn't have Ferris on the back of his jersey, yes, that's Mumbagna. But he goes by Ferris. So we don't have the wrong roster sheet in front of us or anything.
He's making friends with the Steel Army tonight as well, as we can hear them.
Yes, they are in a full lather. The Steel Army supporters section. The Riverhounds have not had a home playoff match since the establishment of the Steel Army, really. Goes all the way back to 2006. They haven't won a home playoff match since 2004. Chambers. Galena on the cut-in, but lost command of it. Forbes to Bunky as he can't get it by Galena. Galena to the byline, put it right through! And a good job from Dabo to save the day on the back post. Or was that Dover, pardon me? It was. Jordan Dover, excuse me.
Nice job by the Steel to keep that possession going. Venkia Zeal on the initial ball played in. I think he took a couple steps back. He gives a little bit of space. I don't think he's the fastest left back that the Hounds will put out there, but I think he was just trying to make sure he had enough space. I think he gave up a little bit too much there, though.
More often than not, it's been Ray Lee on that left side. I'm not sure he's a burner either, John, but maybe a little bit quicker in terms of straight line speed than Venkia Zeal. More of a stout player, wins a lot of 50-50 balls.
Again, we got whistles, we've got stoppage of play. Just really no rhythm to this match right now, Matt.
It's a grind, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. And if you looked at Pittsburgh from 30,000 feet, you would say, well, the Hounds should be accustomed to this. They play a lot of low-scoring, close games, especially at home. But it has been a tale of two seasons almost. Since the start of September or late August, actually, Riverhounds have poured in some goals. They've also let in more than they did in the opening 4 months of the regular year. Forbes on the rising header. Cristiano Francois got a touch. Here comes Jordan Dover up to try to beat two men to it. He's working here against Real on the outside. Slid it back a little too far for Forbes to do anything with, but just tap over to Dabo. Canardo Forbes, 30-year-old Jamaican. He was telling me on Wednesday, just stick to the game plan. That's the message to the younger players, inexperienced players, when it comes to playoff time. Dabo. And now Forbes. Slowing it down and now speeding it up. Good ball there and a good reach from Francois to pull it in. Cristiano Francois steps over and wins yet another corner kick. That's Pittsburgh's 5th.
As soon as he received that pass, there was no stopping him. He was going to go into the box and take on 2 defenders. That's Cristiano Francois for you.
Francois led this team in crosses, tied for the lead in chances created. The pacey winger puts it toward goal and headed just wide. Hugh Roberts again.
All right, Hugh Roberts is definitely kicking himself a little bit right now. That's 2 times.
And great service, by the way. We haven't seen outstanding, consistent service from the Riverhounds off quarters this year a lot, but tonight, well, the runners have had chances, put it that way, to get on the end of them.
They're sharp on set pieces. You got to do that in the playoffs. I'm sure that's something that the Hounds worked on quite a bit this week in training.
And it wasn't necessarily a physically taxing week of training. Coach Bob Lilly wanted to let off the gas. He said he didn't let off the gas for 2 months trying to get that 2 seed, and the Hounds came up a few points short of Louisville for that. And so this week's practice was about recovery and tactics, and like you said, maybe some of those set pieces mixed in, some execution type things. The fitness is the fitness at this point of the year. You're not going to get any more fit right now. You just have to maintain and hope to get a little sharper.
Unless you're a player like Kevin Kerr, who's coming off an injury. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This time of the year.
Galena heads it past Bunkiazil. Galena's having a heck of a first half, if I may say so. But Greenspan hops on that ball. Chipped by Parks, who looks good in this one. But he can't get the return feed from Brett, who was dumped down. Aronson slicing through. 1v3, though. He needed to get some help from teammates, and he did not find it. Chambers to the midfield stripe. Gets that throw on the deep ball to the left corner off of Dover's head. Ben Zemansky has the only goal of this match. The longtime veteran pro, former NCAA champion with the Akron Zips. A couple of hours down the road from here. Zemansky from Brett is the lone line on the score sheet so far. Steele, nice little combination play, but a wild cross, no one home on this near post. We've received word from the sideline from the 4th official, Eric Tattersall, that we're looking at 3 minutes of stoppage time, barring any other unforeseen incidents. Chambers, Bizo, and Galena, they team up. Lynn backpedaling, and that one's well behind his goal. Maybe the wind picked up that one and just prevented it from curling back.
Right, and what you're seeing the Steel do now is if the Hounds are limiting them to the width, and they're swarming maybe 2 defenders on each ball, but they're trying to those short combination passes then to try to get maybe a ball in. It still hasn't really paid off yet for the Steel FC.
Feels weird to be saying that Pittsburgh is playing a team called Steel. Usually that's our domain, right?
Right, and you got the Steel Army here too.
So excuse us if we sound a little bit redundant in some areas. Parks, the give, and he wants to get it back. And a little tie-up and no call. Zemansky flops his arms in disgust at no whistle from referee Radchuk. And, well, Parks reaching for his mouth. He
might
took
have
a
got
pop
a hand
there from
yeah.
Bizo.
He got a little hand there, and maybe in the mouth. Thought maybe in his eyes. He's back up. He's okay.
45th minute, but like we said, 3 are going to be added on at least. Oh, Riverhounds working against the wind. That was a big shove in the back that sent Dabo flying.
Ferris again.
Not afraid to throw his body around, and, well, now he's got a card. And if that were just an isolated incident, that wouldn't have been a card, I think, but he got that leeway from referee Radchuk earlier on the 2-handed shove to Greenspan.
Certainly, certainly. Well, maybe there's a little bit more control of the match now. That one card's come up. We'll see. We'll see. These teams are really fighting hard for every ball in the middle.
Coming up at the half, we're going to look at some highlights from matches around the league. It's so exciting to tell you it's playoff time in the USL after a record length of regular season. Just hold on that as here comes Parks to the byline and unfortunately couldn't get around it with the left foot. This was the longest season, though, in league history is what I was trying to spit out there before the Hounds went back on the counter. 34 games long. For some teams, they played U.S. Open Cup. The Riverhounds had a couple of matches there. The Steel did not as an affiliate club of an MLS team, so they sat that out. Throw for Bethlehem. Yes, we'll have scores, we'll have highlights, we'll look ahead. The Pittsburgh fans are all over Mr. James Chambers. Mock protesting at his real protests earlier in this match. Galena. Anthony Fontana, 19-year-old from Delaware. He wins the foul call. Fontana, 5 MLS appearances as a teenager, 1 goal.
This is, I believe, the first kind of somewhat from close range free kick for Steel. There was one a little from further away earlier, so we'll see what they can come up with here. We're past the 45th minute.
Matt Real, the third-year member of the Steel at just 19 years old. Has a goal on the year, no assists. Real looks like he's going to try the left foot with Brett as the lone man in the wall. And wow, way too much on that. Didn't adjust for the wind, did young Mr. Real, and the Hounds will gladly take that on the goal kick.
Yeah, you want to line that in, try to get a little bit more control on that ball. And he tried it in, swing it in there to the far post area, but way, way over.
Well, the Riverhounds have broken the ice in this one. Last 3 matches of the season, they had 18 shots on goal, just a couple of goals. So that's been their problem all year. They get plenty of looks, but they haven't scored at the rate that you would think a team would that generates the number of opportunities they do, and quality ones at that, especially when they're playing their best. Here's Canardo Forbes. Marked up by Aronson. Forbes taps it into the corner, and that'll be a throw for the Riverhounds. Just 5 feet short of the corner flag.
Well, last time these two played, Forbes had a late goal. He won't have one now in
won't
the first
have the
half.
chance to here as we see the first half come to a conclusion. It's a happy half for the Riverhounds and their fans, but for Bethlehem, still very much within striking distance at this juncture. And we see Hugh Roberts for a moment discussing some things. Joe Greenspan arm in arm with assistant coach Mark Pulisic. Plenty of talk to come, and a little bit of a warm-up there in the locker room too. We're in the mid-40s here in Pittsburgh. Coming up after this break on ESPN Plus and Pittsburgh CW, we'll take a look around the USL Cup playoffs. We'll check out that bracket and see who might be trying to be a bracket buster. I'm Matt Geika with John Krasinski, and we shall return from the south side of Pittsburgh after this.
International offerings of the Strip District. Italian cheeses, Polish sausage, and German engineering.
Fresh luxury vehicles are now available in the Strip at the all-new Audi Pittsburgh.
Like the Q5 Premium Quattro from an ultra-low $479 a month. Current owners save $1,000 more, plus $750 additional for your trade at the new Audi Pittsburgh and Audi Washington.
The most important thing to me was that my children were not scarred by me having breast cancer. I just wanted to be mom. And this is mom, and mom is going through something hard, but mom can do it.
For us, we understand like life is so finite. We need to enjoy it now, you know?
Absolutely.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with the region's highest rated health system for women's health, Allegheny Health Network.
Season tickets for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC 2019 season are on sale now. And it's the most affordable season ticket in town. Season tickets start at only $99. Buy before October 31st to lock in early bird pricing. Don't miss any of the action as the Hounds look to follow up their sensational 2018 season at Highmark Stadium. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
We're at halftime of a historic night in Pittsburgh, and, well, maybe halftime. You never know in the postseason, right? Could be going beyond 90 minutes. If the Hounds have their druthers, though, they will extinguish this one with a smart second half. And, well, you see all the black and gold in the stands here at Highmark Stadium. And if you're a Pittsburgh sports fan, or even if you're not, you know that all of our pro teams share the same colors. And, well, there was a black and gold appearance at PPG Paints Arena, the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL. The 5-time Stanley Cup champs welcomed the hopeful USL Cup challengers to a game against the Vancouver Canucks on Tuesday night. So some fun synergy here in Pittsburgh. Now back to the soccer. I'm Matt Geica with John Krasinski. There you see the intense look of Didier Drogba, the 40-year-old. And John, he can still do it, can he?
Golazo. What a strike. Keeper couldn't even handle that one.
For Phoenix Rising, that's the team that Drogba co-owns. He's wearing the captain's armband there. Phoenix getting a 3-0 decision against Portland Timbers 2 in the opener of USL Cup playoffs. Here's a former Riverhound back from 2014 cashing in.
Jason Johnson. Nice little touch there. Just got that just inside the left post.
And Phoenix, boy, they were ready for this one, much like we were ready for this one here tonight. And there's the capper, 3-0, as I said. Phoenix Rising, the 3 seed out west, will face the winner of Sacramento and Swope Park Rangers, which will be later tonight. That was the only match yesterday. Earlier today, there you see bright sunny skies out in Utah. The Real Monarchs tried to polish off visiting Reno. There's a fine save there. And late first half, another opportunity this time for the visiting side, but we don't able to guide that one on target. And we don't have the opportunity to share with you the winning goal, but Reno pulls off the upset. So our first upset of the tournament came earlier today. And Real Monarchs, they were scaring the top of the West all year long, and they weren't able to advance in the first round. Cincinnati hasn't advanced in the first round yet in the USL Cup, at least not coming into today. Here's an extra time strike, though, by Corbin Bone, John.
So dangerous from that top spot there. And Cincinnati, you just can't hold them down after 90 minutes. Eventually they were going to score, but wow, what resilience for Nashville to get back and get that equalizer.
Look at this little chip ball, maybe a slight miss hit, but it counts. And Nashville forced the PK shootout down there at Nippert Stadium. And Nashville SC in its first year, they get quite the thriller. But it went to PKs, and they can be cruel. And there's a chip over the bar from Nashville. The defining miss of that match, Justin Davis firing wide, and Cincinnati converts in the first extra frame of the PK shootout. So we have our first shootout of the tournament. And Cincinnati, well, they finished on that unbelievable unbeaten streak. John, setting a league record, 23 games unbeaten to finish the year, but they still needed to squeak by Nashville in round one.
Well, and that's what the playoffs are all about. It's not going to be easy. No match is going to be easy. Even at home, even in front of more than 30,000 people, FC Cincinnati were pushed to the limit, and every single match is going to be like that.
So sorry, go ahead.
No.
The 1 seed, as we have the bracket coming up, the 1 seed in all of USL advances. They'll take on the winner of Charleston Battery and New York Red Bulls 2. And New York actually leads at the half there, 1-0 down there at Blackbaud Stadium, the artist formerly known as Blackbaud Stadium at least. Louisville and Indy have just kicked off as well. They're in the 23rd minute scoreless. So that's the East. Out west, as I mentioned, Sacramento and Swope Park. And the top seed in that side of the bracket, Orange County, hosts St. Louis, which makes the playoffs for the first time after a couple of near misses. Good to see the fleur-de-lis in the USL bracket. What are you looking forward to here? Second round matchups could be possibly very intriguing.
Well, if New York is up 1-0, I think Charleston has the ability to battle back at home, of course. But New York with that firepower. New York against Cincinnati, the 2 highest scoring teams in the USL. That would be a fun matchup.
That'd be fantastic. Any matchup is cool this time of year because it's winner go home. It really adds to the stakes. We'll take a step out and rejoin you in just a little bit here from Pittsburgh. In the meantime, the playoffs are an exciting time, so we'll take a look at some of the best moments from the USL this year.
We're ready.
After a USL Cup is awarded, this league, the USL, as it currently stands, will now be known by the USL Championship moniker. There you see the corresponding logos. USL League One, formerly known as D3, that'll offer players a chance to get their feet wet in pro soccer. They'll debut next year. And USL League Two, taking the place of the PDL, the Premier Development League. So keep your eye on USLsoccer.com for more information on that transition. We had some year-end awards get handed out, and oh so close for Dan Lind, the Hounds starting keeper, just edged by 1/100th of a goal against. You let in 2 against New York Red Bulls, 2 on the final day of the regular season, but Evan Newton of FC Cincinnati steals it at the wire, 9 clean sheets. Matt Pickens, we all know him. He's been around the pro soccer scene forever, and he was terrific this year for Nashville. Speaking of Nashville and Matt Pickens, well, that one's a difficult one to swallow. Nashville did make a push at the end of the year to get into the postseason, but their reward was facing the top seed in Cincy. Tremendous matchup, but Cincy advances. Charleston Battery ahead of New York Red Bulls 1-0. That's been, or pardon me, it's New York up by 1 last I checked, so we might have misprint there. But Louisville and Indy are tied 0-0 down at Slugger Field, that tight pitch, and 2 veteran squads going at it right there. Back for the second half from Pittsburgh, PA after this.
All right, that's enough, you two. Don't paint your brother. No, you can't eat the clay. What can I say? Moms just know. I'm Christine Sorensen, and as a mom, I know parents know a lot. But for the few things we don't know, there's Kidsburgh, your go-to resource for all the great things in our area for kids and families. Everything from kid-friendly events, creative learning, and help for parents. It's every Wednesday on KDKA TV, emailed to your inbox and online at kidsburgh.org.
Season tickets for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC 2019 season are on sale now. And it's the most affordable season ticket in town. Season tickets start at only $99. Buy before October 31st to lock in early bird pricing. Don't miss any of the action as the Hounds look to follow up their sensational 2018 season at Highmark Stadium. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Hello, Shanti. How are you
Hi,
today?
Rose. Good, thank you.
How's this pressure for you? Okay?
Yes.
I'm going to do nice and light today for you.
Visit ahn.org/cancer to learn more about the Cancer Institute at Allegheny Health Network.
The Riverhounds Technical Training Academy is back this winter at the AHN Sports Complex at Cool Springs. The 15-session program runs from December to March and is loaded with skills development taught by professional players from around the world. Registration opens in August. Sessions begin December 1st. Find out more by emailing wintertraining@riverhounds.com or by calling 412-325-7238.
We're getting ready for the second half of action. Pittsburgh up on top of Bethlehem 1-0. And we have an update here. Red Bulls, first of all, have carried that lead into the half down in Charleston. And Niall McCabe scores for the defending league champions, Louisville City FC. On to the highlights from the first half in this first ever playoff matchup at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh. Hugh Roberts off the crossbar from the corner kick. And the Hounds had 4 corner kicks in that first half, John Krasinski, and all of them were dangerous.
Their execution's been good so far. Really has, Matt.
Brett into the box, and there's the only goal to this point. Just outside the 6-yard box, Ben Zemansky directs that firmly into the back of the twine. Off the cross from Brett, he was surrounded by 3 Steel FC defenders, but it didn't matter.
He got it off, and that's the key. Got it off, found somebody, and there was that connection with Zemansky. Zemansky saw it coming and knocked it in. And the Hounds came close a few other times. As you can see again here, Zemansky.
Nearly a brace in this game.
Great save by McGuire.
And off the ensuing corner, there's McGuire knocking it down and grabbing it. Let's look at the stats from the first half. And John, you were making a point off the air that this very much resembles the September matchup between these two teams, especially at the half. Hounds had a 1-goal lead then. They have a 1-goal lead now. Shots in their favor, possession slightly in their favor. And for the most part, keeping this young Steel squad under wraps.
They are, and they took a little patience early on, but you could see they still have that 57% possession edge. So they were patient enough. They were keeping it a little bit more in the back, but then had enough chances and build up to create not only the goal, but those other opportunities.
Roberts heads it, and well, what do you think the Hounds' approach will be early in this second half with the lead? At home, a place where they've been so successful this year in shutting teams down.
Well, I think they want to continue to frustrate Steel FC, deny anything really in the final third for Steel FC, and that will wear them down enough. And then hopefully, if they follow that same formula, the last match they won 4-1. They had 3 goals in the two more goals in the second half, and just wore down Steel FC. So that's probably the Riverhounds' strategy right now.
That game in September really opened up in the second half.
Yeah.
The Riverhounds just poured on the offense. They're probably unlucky to get just 4 in that match, matching their season high. Dan Len will take this back spinner, and continuing a storyline from the first half, the Riverhounds are working with the wind from left to right in the black and the gold, befitting a Pittsburgh Pro Sports franchise.
Yeah, long balls in the air for Steel FC will be held up now.
And they'll have to adjust. Well, both sides. In fact, Dabo stumbles down and gave this one up to Santi Moar. Santi now pops that skyward. Greenspan. Fundamental header right there on the money, finding Romeo Parks, who has some space suddenly, to the edge of the attacking third and rolls one in on goal. That's just the 3rd shot on goal for the Riverhounds out of 9 total now.
I think Nico Brett wanted maybe a little layoff there on the left side.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Didn't get it, but Romeo Parks with some nice first touch and move in towards the box there, though.
This is Pittsburgh's first appearance in the USL playoffs since 2015, in case you were curious. And that was a thriller. John, you were there at Red Bull Arena.
What a game. That was a fantastic match. That was one where the Riverhounds were just worn out a bit towards the end, giving up 3 goals in extra time.
Yeah, that went to extra time 1-1, finished 4-2.
And
New York.
The 2 highest scoring teams in the league that year. So it was certainly it was everything it was billed to be.
Carl, we scored twice in that one. Defender Willie Hunt had a pair of goals for Pittsburgh there.
He did.
After
That's
not
right.
scoring the entire regular season. Crazy things happen in the playoffs, as we've been talking about.
A defender with a good nose for the goal in the box on headers.
Well, the rain has again started. We're looking at scattered showers throughout the night. Not a soaking rain by any means. It hasn't really affected attendance here, it appears. Not sure if it's an official sellout with the 1,500 new seats added down to our right. But it's been terrific in terms of atmosphere. Greenspan and fans returning to their seats after the halftime break, now maybe going back to get warm and get dry, or drier. I don't know if dry completely can be accomplished right now. Ben Ofemu, and the mishandle from Matt Real gives Pittsburgh possession. This is Pittsburgh's first home playoff game since 2006. And that took place at Falcone Field, the home of Independent League Baseball's Washington Wild Things, about 30 miles south of this location. The Hounds moved to Highmark Stadium in 2013, their first real home.
And tonight, this is the first time we felt anything like this since maybe when the DC United visited in 2015 in an Open Cup match. We also saw Wigan FC here for an international friendly in 2013. That's about where we are tonight. That's the feel, the atmosphere, and everybody's really into it.
The Steel Army has been at its best, maybe at a level we've never seen it before, at least in terms of raw numbers. They have plenty of room over there in the Paul Child stand now, as here's, looks like Forbes of the Hounds gets snowed under, and it's a free kick coming up just inside the touchline.
Good work by Canardo Forbes just to keep the possession going. It's what he does. He extends possessions. He's such a master with his foot on the ball. And it looks like Zemansky's gonna take the free kick.
Zemansky, who finished Brett's cross in the first half that has us at 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Bethlehem Steel should know this one. Zemanski to Greenspan last time they played, almost from the same spot.
Greenspan at 6'6", the center back. And before we see this, presumably served into the 18, referee Michael Radchuk talks to a few players on both sides. Here it comes from Zemanski, but a little too close to the keeper, and McGuire gladly snatches it. The 24-year-old made an outstanding save on Zemanski to keep it 1-0.
Well done, though. That was well done. He played it on a line with the wind, so.
Running on Moar, but too heavy of a touch. He gives a thumbs up to the man who served it, but that chance goes by the boards for Bethlehem.
One more thing on that free kick. Zemanski's playing that ball on frame. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. It's wet, it's windy.
True.
So that's a good effort for the Riverhounds.
We haven't seen Cristiano Francois get a touch yet for Pittsburgh here in the second half, 5 minutes in. He didn't play at all against Bethlehem back in September, but he set up the winner in August at the Steel's home yard. That's when Brett had a pair. Here's a takeaway in the midfield from Greenspan. Forbes wants to get it through there to Brett making a run. Zemanski wins it back, but then stripped away. Fine job over on the far wing by Galena to at least buy his team some time. Vankiazio on his left foot, right toward the spot. Brett was the target, didn't get through to him. Galena swats it up into the air. Aronson to Galena, right back to him. No, read well by Greenspan. The big man in the middle, Joe Greenspan. 3 goals, all late in the season.
A former striker, believe it or not, in college until his junior year, then when he became an All-American center back.
Out of the Naval Academy and got a deferment of his military service to pursue this pro soccer career. Looks like a strong choice for Mr. Greenspan so far. He's been, well, the anchor right there for the Hounds right in front of their goal all season long. Well, ever since he got back from an injury very early on, torn calf muscle that kept him out for a while. Parks will catch up to this ball, but it's off a Bethlehem foot, and it's a corner coming up.
Bounce the Riverhounds way, that's for sure. The way that ball was spinning, wasn't sure if it was going to go out past the end line, and it did.
You can see the raindrops falling through the stadium lights. Cristiano Francois striking with the right foot, low to the near post. Zemanski puts it right back into the mix. My goodness, nearly trouble there, but Mahoney swatted it clear. Chested down by Chambers. The bearded Irishman then took a bump and won the call, and that's not going to be popular among the Pittsburgh fans.
It's loud even here over by the grandstand. Fans are not happy with that call.
Boy, he's making himself a fan favorite. That's what the playoffs do, right?
Yep.
High intensity and high emotion. The Hounds now trying to control that emotion. That was one of the directives from Bob Lilly this week. Get excited, let it power you, but don't let it overwhelm you. Parks was stripped there. Nice job from Anthony Fontana of Bethlehem. Chambers with his right instep. This one's probably going to roll too far for Ferris to catch up to, but Greenspan, taking no chances, simply sends it out to the Monongahela River side of this stadium. 6th season of play at Highmark. Here comes the attacking third throw. Galena runs 2 and takes that from Bizo. Galena, the cross, and cleaning that up on the backside. That's Jordan Dover.
A lot of yellow shirts there, but still Bethlehem able to get it in the box.
Greenspan heads this one away, but too far for Thomas Vankiazio. It's a narrow pitch here at Highmark. Maybe a little bit shorter than typical as well. So games here can take on a pinball effect. You throw the rain and the wind into it. Unpredictable stuff. And if you're back there defending, you got to make sure of your strikes and of your clearances.
The Hounds looking to counter there, but thinking getting slowed down a bit. I'm getting a feeling that they're going to try to get that quick strike. They want to double the lead.
They're
going to
look for it this year.
Yeah, they're going to live off that, and they're going to try to get it off a quick counter. We'll see what happens.
You have to expect Steele's going to have maybe a little bit more of the ball in this second half too, at least at the start, as they push back. And we have our first substitution coming up very early on in the second half. Chris Nainko, who scored at Bethlehem against Pittsburgh 2 months ago. Nainko, the second-year Bethlehem player. He's taken over for Ferris. So Ferris, who was so outstanding in the first half, will now have a seat, but Nainko, arguably just as dangerous. 5 goals, 4 assists on the year for the 23-year-old from Ontario.
Well, Ferris carrying that yellow card, so probably a good move for the Steel.
Good call. Yes, I'd forgotten about that. That was the only card of the first half.
The other thing we want to mention, too, USL substitution rule is different in the playoffs now. There's a 4th substitution if it gets to extra time. So I'm sure the Riverhounds are hoping that's not the case.
They don't want to test that.
No.
Differential between the regular season rules and the postseason rules. We've seen a couple of extra time games already today. Cincy and Nashville going the distance to the PKs, and Reno prevailing at Real Monarchs. Francois putting the pressure on in the corner, and a swing and a partial miss from Mahoney over here. That ends up giving the Hounds a throw and a chance to set something up.
Training since January on this field in all kinds of crazy weather conditions. I think the Riverhounds have a bit of an edge here right now, as the Steel were just having a hard time playing the ball out there with the wind and the rain and everything going on.
Moar did clear, but it's off a Bethlehem foot, in particular Chris Nainko checking in. So Nainko wearing number 37. Look for him at the tip of the spear for Bethlehem. Score update from Louisville. Lou City up 2-0. Ilya Ilic cashes in, the Serbian striker. So it's looking like if scores hold right now, it will be Pittsburgh at Louisville for the 2nd time this year. Still a long way to go in both, especially in this one with just a 1-goal margin. Dover, good job to close out and take it away from Moar. Jordan Dover, the give to Francois. 1v2 over there, and he's dispossessed. Chambers got in.
Dover had he drew both defenders, then they both went to Francois. It would have been nice for Francois to just play a one touch right back to Dover there.
Pardon, that was Matt Rial, actually, who closed in and eventually took that one off of Francois' boot. 58th minute.
I don't know if Francois was just hoping to try to take on those 2 defenders again and try to get a crossover there, but he got bottled up.
Yeah, it happened in a hurry. Anthony Fontana taking away space. Sometimes it pays to be patient, maybe not there. Easy for us to say up top, of course. So Bethlehem tries to piece something together, but another turnover. And Zemansky holds on and finds his midfield mate, Canardo Forbes.
Again, some patience being exercised by the Hounds here, just keeping it, knocking it around a bit.
They'll, of course, try to take advantage and nick a second one if they can. But no reason to push the pace if you're Pittsburgh. Dabo, at least not in these situations. They'll switch play over to Thomas Vankiazil, last year's NCAA Division II Player of the Year for the University of Charleston Golden Eagles. Deep one from Greenspan, and not his best.
And a national championship, too, to boot for Vankiazil, so he has postseason experience.
Rial has some trouble with that firm ball along the pitch. Brett turns his shoulder to try to keep it alive, but he can't for the Hounds. Aronson can't get it through the defending of Roberts. And Dan Lind will handle for the first time in a while. Lind arguably just had the best season for a Riverhounds keeper in franchise history, a team established in 1999. Got a lot of help from the swarming defending of the Bob Lilly coached Hounds in 2018.
Another just frustrating moment there for Steel. Played a ball wide, just hung up in the air too much, and just they're not able to connect passes right now, Matt.
It's been, I don't want to call it an ugly game, but there haven't been very many moments of sheer beauty. The Hounds got the lead on a moment of beauty. And Zemansky, who authored that, flicks it on, wants to get it back from Brett. They tried something pretty there, did the Hounds,
yeah,
but cleared away by Rial.
Nice little dummy there by Zemansky. Let the ball through.
Might have gotten the slightest of touches on it, but the effect was the same. Francois, not even he's quick enough to hop on that ball.
Stole my thought there, Matt. I think Forbes even thinks he can put the ball into a spot, and DeChita Francois will still get to it, but not in that case.
Native of Haiti, ended up coming to America to play college soccer after the terrible earthquake that afflicted his home country several years back. He's found a home here in Pittsburgh. He's a fan favorite. The fans love to see the effort he gives and the way he turns up the pace on games. He'll try to do it again here. 1v1, Francois couldn't get that through a maze of bodies in white shirts. Santi Moar, and another giveaway. Parks, oh, right on line, but right at the keeper, McGuire.
It's a little theme going here. That was an excellent shot on frame. However, Nico Brett again a little bit to the left of Parks, was maybe looking for a ball there.
Romeo Parks does not have an assist this year, but he had a few crosses. I remember late in the regular season, in fact, here against Indy, probably should have had an assist. A couple weren't finished off by Brett, in fact, now that the memory clears up for me. Francois stepping and falling down. Fontana. Aronson.
He's not the first person to fall down in the last few minutes. It's been slippery out there.
Yes, the surface appears to be getting slick, and a takeaway for the Hounds. Again, 3 men on 1. And the Hounds are swarming like the bumblebees they're dressed like out there on the Highmark Stadium surface. Mid-40s, windy.
Forbes and Zemanski really dictating tempo in the midfield, controlling the ball, doing a really good job right now.
Those are the 2 men you want controlling the tempo if you are Lily and the Riverhounds. 2 of your most veteran men out there. For the most part, it's a young team for the Riverhounds. Not as young as Bethlehem Steel, but most players in their 20s. Just a couple have reached 30, but 2 of them are Zemanski and Kennardo Forbes. The second substitution on the way for Bethlehem Steel. Drew Skundrich is in the 63rd minute, taking over for Anthony Fontana. Skundrich, the 3-time NCAA champion with Stanford. 2 goals, 3 helpers on the year. 23 years old from Pennsylvania. So Skundrich in, Fontana out. One more time.
The Hounds have not used any of their subs yet. Lily's a big fan of when his players are playing well out there, he's going to keep them out there. I'm sure he will be bringing guys in when we get closer to the 70th minute.
It's a good call by you, John, because we haven't seen very many early second half subs this season. Maybe a couple mixed in, but that's not Lily's MO. At least not this year, with the way this team has played. Unforced error from Bethlehem. Again, the Steel just look a little jittery, maybe unsure of themselves in their own half of the pitch. They haven't been able to build it up like they want to. Down 1-0. That's hurting them big time right now.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are professionals. They've been out there for a long time, playing this game for a while. I know they're young. There's a lot of young players, but conditions are the same for both teams, although...
Here's Zemanski getting a pick maybe set for him. Laid it off. The crossover to Cristiano Francois. Back across the face of goal. Temporarily cleared. Parks overran it. Then he was bumped inside the area, but kept his feet, and play continues back upfield. Moar and Nenko couldn't control. That's a break for the Hounds, who were a little bit stretched out.
Absolutely there. The Hounds were stretched. It couldn't get a good touch on the ball there.
Here's a look back. Forbes, Francois, and well, there's Zemanski again. Has he ever been in the scoring areas tonight?
Yeah.
This is why you sign a Ben Zemanski, as the Hounds did way back.
With this in mind, this time of the year, this playoff game, again, he's been solid throughout. Forbes, it allows Forbes to play a little deeper. Zemanski can get up a little higher and be more creative. And they're working very well together.
The first playoff game in Highmark Stadium history doubles as the 100th game at this facility, and so far so good for the hometown Hounds. But here's a run on. from Galena. Catches up, and Bonchiazio defends him very well. Galena just hesitated for a moment, thought that would help him buy time, ended up giving Tommy V a chance to close him out. Aronson, though, strong move. Greenspan put it off his own man, and I think that was Mohamed Dabo. It caroms off his head and right in on Dan Lind. So a bad break, then a good break, as it didn't lead to anything offensively for Bethlehem Steel.
Again, Steel just not able to get, any build-up into the box. They're getting denied before they even get in the box.
Hounds in command, but it can turn in a hurry. Just a 1-goal margin. Pittsburgh trying to advance to play the winner of Louisville, which leads 2-0 against Indy 11 down in Kentucky.
Yeah, Lynn tried to send that ball away, and it hung up in the air there. Got to be careful.
The wind is with the Hounds, but with the rain, you still have to strike it well, or it's not going to carry as far as it will in a mid-July matchup, that's for sure. Parks bumped hard, and that's a call against Bethlehem. Bizo, the guilty man.
Well, credit to Parks. He's battling tonight, 65 minutes plus into this match, and he has played really all out. I think a lot of credit to Romeo Parks.
And he's fallen in and out of favor with Bob Lilly this year in his first year playing under Riverhounds boss. Headed clear by Ofemu, not all the way out. Taking care of the rest of that one, though, Matt Real. And Parks, in fact, he was one of those early subs we were talking about. They've been rare this season, but he went out early in a game at North Carolina a couple months ago. As Zemansky now battling through, wins it through to Francois. Francois trying to take it there. Is it off him or is it off of Real? It's ruled to be off of Real and a corner kick for the Hounds.
And the rain's really coming down now. Fans are getting into it.
The ball is rolling on this close cropped surface.
Again, it has to be a lining cross. It can't hang up in the air too much, Matt.
Francois trying to bring it back toward the 6. It's in a good spot. Hops free. Forbes heads it back into the mix. Greenspan nearly had his face taken off by that boot. But no harm, no foul, apparently.
Dangerous
now
ball.
on the quick attack, Nanko. Can he get by? He cuts back. Nanko, big save. Dan Lind makes the stop on Nanko's cutback in the 68th minute.
Just as you said, a 1-0 game. And the Riverhounds needed a great save by Dan Lind. Terrific composure. Stayed with it and made a nice stop there.
Just the second corner of this match coming up on the Bethlehem side. And this is what you fear, a short breakaway. And Dover, who got a tap on the back from Lind after that, saying, hey, you did all you could. That guy's a tough customer to deal with in Nanko. He scored a spectacular goal at Bethlehem earlier this year against the Hounds. But here comes the corner. Lind, one-handed punch. And it'll hop over toward the far corner, where getting on the end of that one was Nanko ranging over.
Yeah, well done again by Lind, just to get it out of there. That's the key, just get that ball away from danger.
We're more than an hour into this one, nearing 70 minutes, in fact. I'm Matt Geica with John Krasinski, your play-by-play and color men, respectively. It's been our pleasure to bring this match to you. Still very much up for grabs. Headed by Roberts, but not all the way out. A blast from Ofemu. Errant and apparently not deflected.
It looked like it might have skimmed off somebody, but couldn't tell from way up here. But
and the defending team usually gets the benefit of the doubt from most officials. It's not in the rule book that way, but that's the way it tends to turn out. You don't want to give away a corner unjustly, I suppose, is the reasoning. So there's Dan Lind in his greenkeeper's outfit. Crushing one up the center. And here are the Steel. Aronson sends a soft one over the top. Here comes Dan Lind again. So now Bethlehem trying the long balls, probing, seeing if the Hounds have any vulnerabilities there, backtracking.
Yeah, Nanko, while Ferris was a big body and dangerous, Nanko definitely has some speed up top there, and he's starting to cause some havoc up front.
John, do you think the long balls are a reaction to the rain?
Oh, certainly. Well, I mean, in the case of the counter, it was just cleared the ball defend the corner well and then see what they could do, and that's what happened there.
Nanko against Roberts, who missed on the header. Nanko slides it through. Here comes Moar into the area, and it's in. Bethlehem has tied it up. A counter again right through the middle of the pitch. Not sure who got the last touch on it. Was it Galina? It might be. Well, he does the backflip, so it's got to be him, right? Mitchie and Galina, and Bethlehem has knotted it up. They just sent bodies into the 6, and it's 1-1 in the 70th.
Yeah, the Hounds are just not tightly marking there.
And sliding through, Bunky Azil was just a step behind. Galina, as he cut in, Greenspan couldn't prevent it either. Santi Moar, give him all the credit in the world for the cross.
A little bit of a letdown with the Hounds here, you know, not really able to get a closer mark there. And Bethlehem was pushing. It's been pushing ever since that counterattack. They've been on the front foot for the last 5 minutes and finally capitalized.
A greasy, grimy playoff-style goal for Bethlehem Steel, and give these guys credit. They've persevered here, and they have knotted it up. Despite not having really that much until the last 2 or 3 minutes, suddenly there was some room in the Hounds' back line. Can Brett answer back? Lifts it over, but Francois was running toward us.
Yeah, he made a run a little too soon, Francois, that was.
Galina, that's his 7th goal of the year. Puts him in the team lead, one ahead of Santi Moar, who set him up. 1-1. And well, it's not getting any more pleasant out there to play. This is going to be interesting how this one finishes.
Yeah, the Hounds have to keep doing what they've been doing. Just can't have those defensive letdowns and can't give all that space.
Again, the Riverhounds close down in the midfield. Bouncing ball gets by everybody. Francois, who has switched sides, forces the giveaway. Now it's loose in the middle of the surface. And from that spot in the park, it's given over to Chambers, who knocks it forward. Santi Moar, 1v1 here against Dover. Dover pushes him toward the middle. Ball comes loose, and now Bethlehem with some spring in its step. Chambers, who scored here against Pittsburgh in September. Nanko wanting to turn, and will! Danlin made the stop, and it trickles just wide of the goal. Dangerous times for the Riverhounds at home.
Now, they're usually good at swarming the ball and denying any chances, but again, Nanko is finding the room. He's finding the spots.
Chris Nanko, the second half sub, uber talented, a turn and a crack, and it sets up another corner.
Again, it was Lynn, though. Lynn coming up with another big save.
And that's 2 significant ones in this second half. Remember those if the Hounds can go on to win, but right now they have to defend a second corner here in this second half against them.
Lilly with all of his subs at his disposal too, so it'll be interesting to see who he goes to. Right now, though, the Hounds have to defend this corner.
On a bitterly cold, now soaking evening in Pittsburgh.
A lot of pushing and shoving in the box too, of course.
This one's a deep ball. Who will get there? Zemansky does. It's still available, though. Swinging at it is Brett, who eventually does get the free kick sent his way. So a foul in the box against the Steel. Steel, one of the more physical teams in this league. They had the 6th most fouls in USL. We saw that especially early on in this game. Some of that has quieted down now as the two teams are just focused on getting the result, obviously.
Absolutely, 1-1 match now. Things are going to get tense, going to get more and more tense. Regardless, the last less than 20 minutes now left in the regulation. It's going to get more and more tense to see which team can pull through here.
Well, that brings extra time into play, that equalizer from Galina. Not to get ahead of myself, but I think we all thought it at the moment. And you brought up that 2015 match against DC United. That one went extra time, the last time this stadium has been this packed and this electrified. Brett falls. Zemansky cruises through, but couldn't control it. Bunky Azil heads it, but here's Aronson. Aronson with a step ahead of Canardo Forbes. Cuts back, puts his hand down to steady himself. Aronson, Nainko, spinning with several hounds around him. Serves it off to Chambers. Savvy touch here. Real, back post. Dan Lind.
Nainko doing some good work as the top man. He's keeping the ball, keeping the possession alive, finding somebody else, and they get another ball in the box. Not as dangerous, obviously, but still, Bethlehem Steel finding their legs right now.
More than half of Bethlehem's goals on this season have come after the 60th minute. They thrive in the final half hour, which might not even be the final half hour tonight. Bunky Azil takes command of this and holds off his keeper, Dan Lind, says, I got this one. Cracks the ball up the near sideline, but Steel FC wins it. Chambers.
Good ball by Chambers there.
Yeah, he's been a distributor lately. Clear from Roberts, but the Hounds again on the back foot. Nainko takes this. Chris Nainko has been dangerous, and Roberts gets his foot in to tap it over, but here's Aronson spinning one toward the 6, and out there is Lind to cut it off.
Again, Nainko's keeping the ball alive. Well done. And Dan Lind has been busy the last 10 minutes, I would say, more than really most of the game prior to that.
Lind with a drive, with the wind, and it does come to the foot of Nico Brett. He hasn't had many touches here in this second half, and that's a problem for the Riverhounds.
Well, Nico Brett, Canardo Forbes, Ben Zemanski have been kind of quiet in the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, the second half started well in that regard with the Hounds in possession, but now it's tied, and, well, now they need a goal. There will be no clean sheet in the playoff debut of Highmark Stadium. Zemanski slides through to keep it alive. I mentioned the Steel's record with late goals. Riverhounds have scored 16 in the 75th minute or later. That's about a third of their total. Especially late in the year, they've shown some attacking mettle as the final whistle approaches. Bad ball there from Aronson, and that will give possession back to Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh was out shooting Bethlehem by a pretty wide margin for a while. Now it's 10-6. Pittsburgh has not been outshot at home this year.
Another pass not connecting for the Riverhounds, playing it out of the back there.
And there's the sub, Skundrich. Galena, who has the tying goal in this second half. Romeo Parks on the take back. Parks square to Brett. Brett looks up, wants to go back to Parks, and he has him. Will Parks be able to get there in time? Yes. Slowed down for a moment, and the driving rain sends one through, and Bizo heads it into the Steel Army. Corner kick on the way.
Well done by Parks. A little composure. He got to the ball before it went out, and hey, got a ball in. The Hounds with a corner opportunity. This is what they need now. They need to get back in on this side of the field and start putting some pressure on Steel.
7th corner for the Hounds, and again, the ball won't behave. It's getting blown around. Well, if you want to know which way the wind was blowing, you can tell there. Toward the Army. And more discussions.
And the Army is bunkering in right now.
As they should. They're huddled for warmth. And the ball won't sit still. A third time Zemanski sets it up with a spin. And a crack back post. McGuire just punched it out. We'll do it again.
Hey, again, anything on frame in these conditions is so dangerous.
Short ball. Hounds trying some trickery here, but McGuire's all over that. Short cross. Maybe Bunky Azil was the intended target of it. Hard to tell. And McGuire side foots this one out of danger.
Yeah, in the first half, that one went out of bounds.
Exactly. It's quite the difference. And Pittsburgh has the edge here in the second half. I wonder if maybe that was a decision at the coin flip. Bethlehem had the first half kick, if I remember correctly. Pittsburgh so often this year has attacked toward the front offices to our left this year in the second half. This time it's different, toward the Steel Army. Louisville's up 3-0, by the way. It looks like Lou City is going to be through, and they'll be home no matter what. Will the defending USL Cup champions in the next round if they do win. as the second seed, Lou City, sprinting to the finish line, in fact. Stringing wins together and pulling away from the Hounds. Dover, that's a foul call and an easy one. Chambers, the most popular man in Pittsburgh, gets the call against him.
Good work by Jordan Dover. I mean, he had the composure to, again, just keep the ball alive, advanced forward, got a couple touches, and then got knocked to the ground. Another set piece. He's got Canardo Forbes lining up on this one.
And on this field, anything past midfield is a dangerous set piece.
Again, it probably needs to be a liner. Don't want to hang it up too much.
Kenny Forbes. Back post. Here is Roberts bumping into Chambers of the Steel, and Chambers, well, he'll get the benefit of a no call in that spot. Roberts is complaining. He's saying it wasn't even off of me. It was off of him, but not in the eyes of referee Radchuk. You just saw Canardo Forbes settling over that free kick. His teams are 5-2 in the USL Cup playoffs. Spending the last 3 seasons with Rochester Rhinos, did Forbes. He's made some appearances for the Jamaican national team, as has Romeo Parks. I imagine Nico Brett might be seeing some of that duty at some point in the near future.
Well, they're usually never too short of attacking talent.
That's true.
Jamaica.
That's true. Reggae boys can always score on you.
Right.
The ball gets through Roberts, but it appears no trouble with Greenspan covering up.
Looks like Usain Bolt's trying to get on the squad too.
I saw that. Hey, give it a shot. Why not? Chambers sends it away into that wind. It doesn't have a prayer. Dabo. The battle's on. Zemansky, he's won several 50-50s. That one, though, goes right back to Matt Mahoney. Nenko, or pardon, Galina, rather, with Nenko in the middle. Galina wins this. He has energy for days, does Galina, but he's stripped. Francois once, twice. He'll end up getting to his own attempted pass. Will Cristiano Francois. Oh, he has Brett cutting in, but it's headed clear, and corner kick once more.
I'd love to know if there was a statistic that said how many times Cristiano Francois sets up corner kicks, because he did it again there. Actually, he was one-on-one with the defender. I thought maybe he wanted to take that one in deeper, but still tried to swing it in.
Change up, we'll kick it from the near side, in fact. It's ruled to have been closer to our end of the pitch, so it's Zemansky handling. Ben Zemansky, the outswinger, knocked down, headed toward goal, and cleared out to the arc. Forbes, he wants Francois, but not a great ball there. At least it'll be a Hounds throw over on the far touchline.
Mad scramble in the box there. The Hounds just got to get a good strong foot on the ball.
Parks couldn't quite flick it hard enough. Yeah, Romeo was looking to send that further into trouble, but not a lot of velocity on the ball.
No.
He was flat-footed. It just deflected that way. Did the best he could. Did Parks. Hounds on the regroup. Forbes to Parks. One touch. Parks with McGuire stepping out for a moment. Now he retreats. Dover. Zemansky's in there. Chambers rises higher.
Yeah, the Steel they had enough numbers in the box. Really, Zemansky didn't have much to do there.
Some difficulty for Roberts, but he gets help from Jordan Dover.
He's on.
Parks, he is onside, but he couldn't take it quickly. So Romeo now steps to the touchline. Slides it back. Zemansky. Canardo, Forbes, and Zemansky work the two-man game briefly. And right back to Canardo. Middle of the park. Brett, wide to Francois. Slowing it down, now speeding it up. And couldn't get it by the defending of Bizo. Bouncing, it'll be a corner if it goes out. Brett, oh, off of McGuire.
I mean, you talk about, I don't think they knew what to do in that circumstance. The ball was hanging up there. The weather is really playing a factor right now. The Hounds, they've got to look to capitalize. They can here.
They've got to look to try to glue this ball to the corner arc. It won't stay for Francois. He's got to try it quick. Can he strike it well? It's a low one.
Yeah.
And headed out by Moar. But Zemansky to Parks off his own man. Headed back into the mix by Vanki Azil, who's pressing up. Bethlehem wanted an offside call. They did not get it. Guess what? Corner kick again. Bunkiazil on the dogged pursuit. Bangs it off of Ben Ofemu's shin.
Well, good work by Thomas Bankiazil. Just, again, bang it ahead, just try to keep it alive.
They're going to go fast, are the Hounds. A low one once more. Can't get it through on the 9th corner. Could Zemansky. Pittsburgh bottling in Bethlehem, though, in a 1-1 game. Winner go home. Francois' cross. Headed out. Here's Dabo up, though.
Hounds definitely on the front foot now.
Francois again. Maybe a hopeful ball that time. Skundrich got the instep to it. Nenko running up. Yeah. Handball against Jordan Dover, and I guess he'll take that. Otherwise, the alternative was he'd be on the run back the other way. Although, wait a minute, we might be seeing a yellow card come out. Yeah, it will be. Dover is ruled to have handled that intentionally.
Yeah. Well, so both teams have one yellow card, but you know, the interesting thing here, the Hounds still haven't used a sub. We're very deep into the second half now.
Maybe Coach Bob Lilly is waiting for extra time.
Yeah.
He has Kevin Kerr available to him, among several others. Kerr, the longest tenured Riverhound, throwing deep in the attacking third for Bethlehem. Kerr got back into game action after 12 outs just last Sunday at New York Red Bulls 2. He dealt with a torn calf, the same injury that befell Joe Greenspan in the spring. Kerr, I know it's been killing him to see this team he's worked so hard for push to the playoffs without him, but maybe he can contribute. He's just one of many possibilities for Lilly. Still a starting 11 in, though, for the Riverhounds. Forbes on the trot. Francois stepping over. Flicks it high. Bicycle try by Brett. Ends up at the edge of the area for Parks. Back post cross. McGuire. 2 hands on it. And Brett, that would have brought the house down.
And then some.
87th minute. Tied playoff game, I'd say so.
Yeah, Nico's a little shaken up after that effort. I think, you know, the key is, in that case, Romeo Parks gets the ball wide. Maybe try to keep the ball alive a little bit longer, sustain that possession, keep the pressure on.
The last time the Hounds won a home playoff game, 2004. Brett's offside here on the campus of Moon High School. Yes, we have a Mars and a Moon in Western Pennsylvania. This was at Moon. Chambers on the restart. That was a 2-game sweep of Harrisburg back in the old USL 2nd Division. Lind, very sure-handed there on a ball that had plenty of velocity off the hop. John, were you there in 2004, the last time the Riverhounds won a home playoff game?
I was not at that game.
That's an upset.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of soccer from the Hounds, especially. Brett causing havoc.
I was there in '99 when they started their first game at Bethel Park Stadium and saw many, many games over the years, but I was not at that game.
Bethel Park, Moon High, Chartiers Valley, also Falcone Field, a baseball park, and now Highmark Stadium, the 5th home of the Hounds and the real home of the Hounds. But can it help them tonight, maybe? They led early. Bethlehem's tied it here in the second half. Good strong challenge there from Bizo, but eventually, again, the Riverhounds swarm to the ball and take it back.
Forbes is orchestrating things from the middle. Got the ball to Francois now.
Francois on the hop, lets one go, and it's blocked. Had a feeling that was coming. Now it's Forbes. Oh, my. Gave that a shot. He scored from distance against Bethlehem in the regular season.
He did, and James Chambers, little pat on the back to Forbes. I don't know.
Captain to captain.
Captain to captain. Hey, gave it a go.
1 minute of stoppage. If that goes in again, it triggers maybe the biggest celebration in Pittsburgh pro soccer history. We're not being dramatic, folks. This game has been dreamt about for nearly 2 decades, and especially since Highmark came into being in 2015. The fact this place even exists is a dream fulfilled for so many Pittsburgh area soccer aficionados. Throw in Hounds at the midfield stripe. And to your point, John, still no subs getting ready for the Hounds. Looks like they're going to wait for extra time if we get there.
Certainly looking like that.
Santi Moar with Nanko running. Here comes Lind, and just needed to get enough of that one to clear it away, and he did, into the stands, near side.
Those kind of balls in make any coach nervous. Making sure that that communication between that back line and that keeper, and when the keeper comes out, they know everybody needs to be where they're supposed to be.
For those who don't know, John's a former coach himself, Point Park University. I'm just surrounded by coaches in this box this year. Gene and Paul both were part of the staff for the Hounds last decade. 1 minute of stoppage time added on. We're past the 90th minute. Aronson overran it. If we get past 90, we're guaranteed to play another half hour. Just so you know, it's not golden goal. It's not sudden death.
Yep, if you're home, go get, once it ends, go get a nice, you got about 5 minutes to get something to eat and then sit back down for what will probably be a very thrilling 30 minutes of soccer.
Where do we get our refreshments, John? That's my question.
Yeah,
we'll see if someone is out there watching, wants to take care of us. We'll accept any and all foodstuffs.
Anything warm would be good too.
91st minute, Zemansky runs through, and that call goes against the Hounds. James Chambers. He's really gotten to know referee Michael Radchuk, and he, in fact, effectively extinguishes 90 minutes of play. That is all. We'll play 2 extra time halves of 15 minutes apiece to try to determine this one. If not, it'll be penalty kicks. We're not going to step away for a break, though. I'm Matt Geica with John Krasinski. We'll keep it here and talk about what we just saw. Well, for a while, John, it was on track for a resounding Pittsburgh win, but in the 70th minute, Mitching Galena tied it up off the cross, the quick strike there. It went from left side to the middle and slid into the goal, buying Galena nothing Dan Lind could do or his defenders. They were just a step behind. And we'll take a look, in fact, at those goals starting back in the first half with the Hounds attacking down to our left. And this was a beaut. For a while, it was lined up to be the game winner. Ben Zemansky, the Hounds midfielder, 30 years old, scores his first USL playoff goal and his third as a Hound overall. The Steel Army was up and twirling towels, but, well, here's the strike back. Off the missed clearance, Nanko, Moar, Galena. And into the back of the net.
Yeah, the Hounds there was that 5-minute period there. After that failed corner kick opportunity, the Steel had a very dangerous counter, and then it just seemed like the Hounds were a little bit rattled, a little bit disorganized in the back there. Eventually, Steel took advantage of that on that goal. It just seemed like even a couple of defenders there, I think it was Venki Azil that was sliding, trying to make a save, or just a step behind. And of course, Bethlehem Steel, showing a lot perseverance. The beginning of the second half, even they couldn't string anything together, and all of a sudden, things start to open up for them a little bit, and so they have a young team, a very young team, as you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. They're finding some confidence, and they're saying, you know what, we're here, we can play this. They have a lot of energy, young legs. The Riverhounds obviously have, they have the playoff experience probably with a little bit more players that have been down this path before, but as you can see, Bob Lilly talking to his players. Again, he's got 4 subs he can go with.
4, that's right. One extra.
That's something that we'll look at closely here.
3 versus 6 matchup in the East. The Hounds won both regular season matchups, but we are tied through 90 minutes. And I'm glad I didn't say, John, at the start of this broadcast that the season boils down to 90, because it's going to boil down to 120. At least, and maybe a PK shootout after that. As you just saw, the rules for USL Cup playoffs once games are tied beyond 90 minutes, and we are there, in fact. Well, hey, why not? Let's hang around for a little bit longer. Easy for me to say, I'm not out there in the rain, but hey, this has been an anticipated night, and I'm sure those hardy Hounds fans will be sticking around hoping to see their squad pull it out. And as for Bethlehem Steel, who went into this postseason on the trot, John, 2-0-2 in their last 4. They rise to the 6th seed. They were so good in the second half. More of the same. Encouraging stuff for Brendan Burke and his coaching staff.
Well, and again, the longer they could stay in a game like this, the confidence of young players, they believe they could steal this one here in Pittsburgh, and they're playing like it. Especially the last half of the second half, the last part of the second half, you can see that confidence, and they're a little bit more composed. Yes, there are going to be passes that aren't going to connect because maybe the wind or because it's just not ideal conditions out there, but they've played through that. Now it's going to be interesting to see what the Riverhounds do. They possession-wise, they've had, as you can see, they've been on the front foot. They have 55% possession. Shots on target, both teams with 4. But the Hounds have, they've been pelting the goal with shots at 14-6 advantage. We'll see. We haven't seen Pittsburgh push to the limit like this year after really controlling tempo. The previous game against Bethlehem Steel, they put it away. Tonight, they couldn't do that in the second half, so they're going to have to go another 30 minutes. It's going to be a test of will. It's playoff time. We'll see what happens.
Elsewhere, New York Red Bulls 2 is moving on. The Baby Bulls pull off the upset. They're so good at playoff time, aren't they? New York.
Again, the organizational depth of the New York Red Bulls, and we're seeing it here with the Philadelphia Union as well. I mean,
they're trying to mimic that type of a system that's been set up.
Certainly.
Well, before things get too crazy, I mentioned Ryan Rose back in the studio at Vista setting us up. The replay operator over there is Manny Simone, and the director is Brian Navarro. So these are the folks that work behind the scenes. Chris DeVivo here in-house, and Paul Child and Gene Klein, wherever you are. I hope you've had an opportunity to check this one out. We miss you, but John's been filling in. It's been a great time hanging out, talking soccer with everybody, and with a tremendous match, very competitive in front of us for 90 minutes, and now we'll work our way for another half hour of open play. Hounds kick off, and now they'll switch sides, in case you're unfamiliar. Pittsburgh will attack to the left for the first half of extra time. 15 minutes put on the clock.
And again, no changes for the Riverhounds.
Yeah, so they're sticking with the same 11. Hard to argue. I'm not sure I've seen fatigue necessarily kick in, but there's always the chance to make some changes tactically or do some different things. Bob really must like what he sees. It'll be a throw for Bethlehem. They'll get the first crack at trying to break this tie. Olivier Mbaizo, former U21 Cameroonian captain. The throw in. Fended off by the Riverhounds and Forbes. Lynn's going to have to come up and try to take this one right in the breadbasket, and he does.
Yeah, Lind anticipated correctly. He made the move when he needed to, and he got to the ball before anybody else got it.
Well, it's hero time for both sides. That's if you want to look at it positively. You know, everyone wants to be the one who makes the difference from the productive side of things, not the other way around. It's going to be tight. Chris Nanko, second half sub. He's been so effective for Bethlehem. In a 1-1 game. The flick by Galena to himself has some room, but he dubbed the attempted volley. Tries again. Oh my, nearly trouble with Aronson, and cracked over the bar. Moar had a beauty of a look to make it 2-1, and he couldn't find the range.
Yeah, that ball was coming in hot though. It was a tough one to handle, and he just got under it. He got under it, it went high.
Santi Moar would have been the biggest goal of his Steel career, of course.
Well, good job by the Steel, though, to keep that possession going as well.
Right, Galena, he could have given up or gotten frustrated after his initial volley didn't work out the way he wanted it to. He just kept on churning. And for the first time, it's pretty quiet at Highmark Stadium right now. I think people are nervous. Into the 93rd minute. We'll play to 105 and then switch sides. First extra time game at Highmark since 2015 U.S. Open Cup matchup against DC United. DC won that one 3-1. Hounds, of course, hoping for a different result here. Parks too far with that ball. Romeo looks forlornly toward the sideline.
I'm not sure if Banky Azil was reading what Parks wanted to do there.
Greenspan, he was yelling at his teammates saying, hey, come on back, you got to help me out. Maybe the energy lacking a little right now for Pittsburgh. All it takes is a few solid passes to build up possession, though, and Lind will have the chance to start things on a positive foot for the Hounds.
Yeah, I think Joe Holland's getting a call over from the Riverhound coaches.
He can provide an attacking spark. Joe Holland, who didn't even make it to the bench for about 3 months in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But he was pretty strong late in the year as a substitute. And it's Parks. Parks right through, loose ball. Bethlehem, and with help from Bizo, gets it out.
Very important to send those low balls into the box. It can be very dangerous, especially in these conditions.
Banky Azil wants the cross. It's off the back of Aronson. Corner kick Hounds.
There we go.
First dangerous set piece of extra time. And who else but the captain, Forbes, to instigate service. Low one, not a great one. Mahoney sent it right back out to the midfield. One of the few missed kicks from Forbes we've seen this season. Dover, the back, Roberts is still up in the play, and he gives it to Banky Azil. And Forbes crossing it off the body of Chambers, another corner. So, wow, Hugh Roberts just found himself in an interesting spot, didn't he?
Yeah, you never see, it's not too often you see a defender way up high on the end of a long ball.
It happened there. Another corner to the near post, it hops up into the air, and it's over the crossbar from Banky Azil. He went lunging toward it.
It looked like he got the top, he got the lower part of the ball. He was there. He was right there. I'd like to see that one again.
I'm sure we will. Scrambly stuff in the Bethlehem box.
Second ball.
McGuire and Banky Azil puts his hands on his head after letting that one go. He knows he missed a chance.
Yeah, McGuire committed to the ball. So once if Banky Azil was able to get it square on frame, it would have been a goal.
That close. Dover gets a throw call out of all that. Matt Real wanted a foul call, and actually that's Moar over in the corner, continuing to yell at the referee, Radchuk. Here comes the substitute, the first one of the match for the Riverhounds. Joe Holland is in the 96th minute. Parks is out. I figured that might be coming. Romeo was looking like he might be flagging at the end of this one, but still an effective start for Parks.
Yeah, and Holland, you know, he brings the attacking presence. He's also very accurate on set pieces, so something to look for.
And he was the one who triggered the final goal of the regular season for the Hounds. His corner kick at New York last Sunday found Joe Greenspan's head in extra time, or, well, it was stoppage time then, but you could, you know, massage the facts and call it extra time.
Native of England and attended Hofstra University on Long Island, my native Long Island.
He's got talent. Top 10 pick in the MLS draft last year by Houston. Didn't stick with the Dynamo, though. Meanwhile, Bethlehem looking for the go-ahead goal. Galena heads it toward Greenspan, and Greenspan at least found Banky Azil with that one. Again on the restart. Bizo. Crafty move to pull it away from Joe Holland. Holland replaces Parks. The first sub for the Riverhounds. They have 3 more in their back pocket if they want it. They want them. Tommy V heads clear. Olivier Mbizo back into play. Roberts wants this call to go his way, and it will. And the assistant referee chimes in. That's Ryan Graves. Haven't mentioned the assistant refs that much tonight. They haven't really come into relevance. Foul against Mohamed Dabo, the Hounds midfielder. Drew Skundrich drew it.
Looked like contact to me there, Matt.
Yeah, I think that was a legit call, no doubt. But at this stage, you're going to get protests on most whistles that sound. Dangerous chance here, perhaps. Moar tries to slice it into the 18.
I think the conditions have calmed down a bit out there weather-wise. Obviously, there's not as much rain, and I don't even think the wind has picked up as much as it was before. So some of those set pieces and stuff.
As the Hounds move it up.
Yeah, look like a little bit more under control.
Still just as chilly out. Not quite bitter cold, as here comes Dover. Chambers makes quick work of that cross. James Chambers, the oldest man on the pitch tonight at 31 years old. Forbes wide. Nenko helped out. And Forbes takes this ball from Dabo. But the Hounds can't make the connection. Stepping to Greenspan, good job. And ball comes through, Nenko's on the run, but Roberts will close him out and send it back to his keeper, Lind. A third sub for Bethlehem is coming up. We'll get you the names and numbers in a moment. Dan Lind gives us the opportunity here. Brendan Aronson will check out. Number 63 will be replaced by number 36, Omar Holness. 5th overall pick in the MLS draft. Holness waiting his turn. The play continues on down to our left. Riverhounds, who led this game 1-0. Attempting to recover and stick their noses ahead once more.
Good high pressure from Bethlehem there. It's forcing the Hounds to play it back.
Lind up the middle. No control for Pittsburgh. And Vunky Azil, a glancing blow on the header. And that'll give Bethlehem a chance to send Omar Holness into the mix. 100th minute of play. We're 5 minutes away from the end of the first half of extra time, pardon me. So Aronson has a seat. The 17-year-old turns 18 on Monday. Gave himself a heck of a birthday gift, really strong effort. He makes it 100 minutes in the USL playoffs. This Bethlehem team, which got spanked at Louisville in the first round last year, 4-0. Several of these players returning from that Steel squad of 2017. Much better performance here tonight. They were ready to go. Maybe a little bend but don't break at times. But as this match has worn on, they've proven a very worthy opponent.
Little sloppy pass there by Francois.
Chambers slid in, gave it to Nenko. Far wing side, running on, and a block. A block on the drive from Moar. Galena, who has the Bethlehem goal. Missed cross from Bizo. And that draws a derisive cheer from the Steel Army. We're past 100 minutes in Pittsburgh. Our third extra time match of the opening round of the USL Cup playoffs. I'm Matt Geica. John Krasinski's alongside. We're hanging out in the Highmark Stadium press box. We've enjoyed every moment of the broadcast here on ESPN Plus and Pittsburgh's CW. Brendan Burke, hands in the air. He wanted a foul call against the Hounds near the touchline. Burke, a former assistant for the Philadelphia Union, the parent club of Bethlehem Steel. Burke was in Philly for 4 years before moving just up the road. Tough ball for Dabo to handle, but he does well. Under pressure from Skundrich. Roberts a deep ball. No. Francois was running for a moment, but it didn't hold up in the wind that much.
No, if that ball's played wider and longer, that's all for Francois there, but he couldn't quite get to it.
Skundrich. The relay. Good defending from Jordan Dover on the perimeter against Moar. The throw to Moar. Skundrich waiting for the cross, can't get it from Matt Real, and Real simply tosses it to his back line now. Mbaizo looking on here to try to get this, but Joe Holland will find it. Holland, the Englishman, 25 years old, couldn't get it through a maze of white shirts. There's not a lot going on in this first half of extra time besides the Vankia Azil header that went over the crossbar after a Riverhounds corner kick. Reaching for it, flicking it, Francois. He was bumped to the surface. and James Chambers is the man on the wrong end of that call again.
Here comes another one of those free kicks from, inside, maybe from 40-some yards out. But again, like you said, at Highmark Stadium, these can be dangerous.
Riverhounds have lost just 2 times all year at home. Once, 1-0 to Charleston Battery in July. That's the last time they lost, in fact. 8 games unbeaten since then. And once to Nashville, also 1-0 on May 30th.
That was during a very difficult stretch of play for the Hounds. All right, we'll see what they can do on this free kick.
Francois gives it a go. Chambers gets his skull to it. Bounced down by Zemansky, but sent away by Bethlehem. And Nenko's called for shielding and screening illegally against Mohamed Dabo, who's put in a hard day's night. Dabo, energizer for the Hounds, and they're holding midfield.
Yeah, right now, I mean, you got Joe Greenspan, you got Hugh Roberts. They were staying high. They're in the box. They're a couple big defenders, hoping maybe to get on the end of one of these balls into the box. But somebody's got to come up with, when it gets into the box, somebody's got to get a foot on the ball for the Riverhounds if they want to score here.
Forbes back post, headed to Holland, can't quite get it. Zemansky over to Holland, crossbar, and it's in! It's in for the Hounds. They lead it 2-1. Was it Roberts? It's Hugh Roberts. Say hello to heaven. He missed twice in the first half, but he converts off the mad scramble right at the end of the opening half of extra time.
Joe Holland with an absolute beautiful shot on, hits the crossbar. And man, talk about crashing goal, getting to where you need to and just getting an opportunistic goal. And the stands are shaking, Matt. We are shaking here at Highmark Stadium.
2-1 Riverhounds. And the set piece, we called it. Maybe one last chance before the end of the half. Greenspan, Holland, Zemansky. Holland, boy, did he give that a crack. And then Roberts cleaning up the garbage right on the goal line.
That's a second, third, fourth effort type of goal. That's what Bob Lilly wants his teams to do in those situations. Crash that net, make something happen out of nothing.
The second goal of the season for Hugh Roberts. His first since way back in early July. And the Hounds are 15 minutes away. They'll switch ends as we hear the whistle after 105 from Highmark.
First guy out there to congratulate some of his teammates was Kevin Kerr, the longtime Riverhound.
His heart has to be in his throat.
It's just, what a moment there, but another 15 to go. And, obviously, that ball in was played to Joe Greenspan. Greenspan had no intention of putting the shot on target. It was a second ball. He played it, his header went back towards the top of the box. It seemed like it was strategic. He played it back towards the top of the box, and it was just a great effort by the Hounds there.
Yes, let's not forget about Joe Greenspan. They don't give out secondary assists in soccer, but he deserves one there.
Win the ball first, keep it alive, and they did that. And now they're up 2-1.
Hey, how about it? A set-piece goal.
Yeah.
They've started to pop up late in this season.
So crucial this time of the year. You have to capitalize on those opportunities. As it looks like Ray Lee is starting to get some warming up over there on the sideline. Certainly expect him to probably come in, maybe give Vankia Azil, maybe somebody else a breather.
Lee so often has played on the left side, wing back. So yeah, he could move Vankia Azil to the middle or just straight up replace him. And it appears, well, he's in serious calisthenics mode, so he's coming in.
Yeah. The Hounds now will be going towards the east end, towards the Steel Army, and with, even though maybe it's not as fierce as it was a little while ago, with the wind at their back. So, again, if they could keep the ball, maybe keep the pressure on Steel FC. That's probably what Bob Lilly wants, but he definitely wants to see a very well organized group back there. There's been some concerns. The Hounds have played maybe a little bit more attacking soccer in September and October, but there have been moments where in the second half of games they've allowed teams get back in the game. So that's going to be crucial as we have a couple subs here.
Brett out, Banjo in, and Lee out, or pardon me, Lee in, Zemansky out. The second and third subs of this match come right at the midpoint of extra time. Ray Lee, the former Rochester Rhino, he's seen these kinds of scenes before. And Kay Banjo makes his USL playoff debut, the second-year Riverhound, mostly consigned to a bench role this year after 6 points last season. So Bethlehem, well, they can still spoil this party yet. It's only a 1-goal lead, obviously. Hugh Roberts, the back, gets into the attack. And he has the Hounds on the verge, but still plenty of work to do. A lot of times how these extra sessions go, a team can break through and then pull away, or it's absolutely a nail-biter all the way down to the final whistle. We saw the latter in Cincinnati earlier today as the #1 seed FC Cincy was pushed to the brink by 8 seed Nashville. Nashville tied it with 5 minutes to go.
Well, you've got, up top, you've got Kay Banjo in there with fresh legs, and I'm sure he's going to be all about pressuring.
Banjo scored 1 goal this season. It was the Keystone Derby Cup winner against Penn FC, formerly Harrisburg City Islanders. And we're sad to say that Penn FC will not be playing in USL next year. Maybe the Hounds have found the new rival tonight, in-state as well.
Could be the beginning of a good
very well be.
Rivalry, that's for sure.
Roberts falls down as he tried to double back and take that pass from Canardo Forbes.
We've got a lot of good Eastern PA versus Western PA rivalries. Why not add this one to the mix? I mean, Pittsburgh,
we sure do.
This is a Philadelphia team, basically, this Union team, so yeah.
And Roberts, who sends this one judiciously down the pitch. Roberts, remember, he was the one who mishandled the ball that led to the equalizer, so he authors his own redemption, at least for right now.
Who's going to call that?
He is.
On the edge?
On the edge of the area, not a penalty kick. Good call, John. I wasn't sure what the signal was from the referee initially. Sprawling down, Santi Moar. And he is livid that it's not a penalty kick for Bethlehem to try to tie it up. He got a serious bump, a hip check, if you will. Did Moar.
There was a lot of contact. They both were going for the ball.
Roberts was the one. He's all over the score sheet now. Roberts, the yellow for the, the tactical challenge, if you will, and it was outside the area. So a good call, but that's, no respite for the Riverhounds. This is big time, 5-alarm danger. In the 108th minute.
Well, Roberts is, he's trying to shield him from getting to the ball. I think he obviously initiated the contact for sure, and that's going to be the call. But yeah, very close range. I mean, about as close as you can get on a free kick right now. The Hounds are they're going to stall. They're going to do whatever they can right now to get in the heads of the Steel, set up this wall.
The wall will be almost at the 6.
Yep.
Because the kick will be taken right from the 18.
Lynn's directing traffic right now.
Well, it's James Chambers, the oft-maligned player tonight for Bethlehem Steel. He scored a PK goal here in the regular season matchup. 4 goals on the season for the 31-year-old Irishman. Will he strike it? He will, and it's in! Off the post, and a score for Bethlehem to tie it at 2.
The one veteran player for the Steel, the captain, the Irishman, and he's getting mobbed by his teammates.
What a strike.
What a strike. I mean, he just banged that one off the post like he knew what he was doing, and he sure did.
Absolutely. What execution. Lind was even there on that proper side, but it didn't matter. It was going to go in.
Yeah.
I don't care if the keeper was 10 feet tall.
I thought Kay Banjo might have had a piece of that, but I don't think so.
So Chambers gets it past the wall, off the woodwork, and in. Chambers has scored 5 times this season, twice against Pittsburgh. 2 all, and we still have 10 minutes to go in extra time, at least.
I'm getting flashbacks to the last Riverhounds playoff game.
This is very similar, yeah. At New York, but Ken Francois creates something, not this time. On the clear was Mahoney. On the battle in the midfield. Dabo blocks one. Here comes Roberts, rejected right back in his face. Greenspan has to head it in Roberts' direction. 2-2 on Chambers' free kick goal. So set pieces looming large in extra time. Nanko confronted by 2 Hounds near the byline, and it's a goal kick. And a good call, it appeared, that Nanko was the one who touched it last. And Nanko's about to get a card for frustration. Threw it away from Dan Lind and the Hounds.
Well, you know, you've seen the Steel players, some youth there. They're a little fired up, maybe getting these games late. You want to try to keep your composure, but
2-2, unforgettable stuff. The Riverhounds have had 2 leads, 1-0 and 2-1. The 2-1 lead has come in extra time, or did come in extra time. It's gone now. Assistant referee gives some help there. Wholeness as this game gets more and more physical. Players getting tired too, so you're going to see more grabbing and hands involved. Greenspan on the deep strike. Banjo looking for a loose ball. Holland will find it, and Joe Holland, maybe he's the one to find some magic. A third bit of magic for the Hounds. They'll need it if they want to win this before PKs.
It's very important for the Riverhounds to string some passes together. I think that's going to be their moment where they can get into the box, do something, string passes together.
Chambers called for the foul. Or no, pardon me, it was Francois. Quick restart, a redirect ball, finds Wholeness. Omar Wholeness wanted to play it square, but it's off the leg of Dabo. Tapped down by Francois, wanted to hook up with Banjo, couldn't do it. Late tackle from the Hounds, and is that Forbes shoving Chambers.
The captain's no longer exchanging pleasant.
And the fans are not pleased. Chambers came over and taunted the fans right in front of us, in fact, after his tying goal. And referee Michael Radchuk had better watch out now.
Yeah, Forbes is pretty steamed right now. I'm not sure. They've been battling all night, Matt.
I have not seen Forbes lose his composure like that in the past, at least as far as I can recall.
He's such a consistent, constant presence for the Riverhounds.
And he gets shown yellow.
Yeah.
Have to expect that after the 2-hand shove.
Yeah, a lot on the line for both teams and both franchises, and Forbes knows it, and Chambers now is going to take this long free kick. The Hounds have to defend on their end. Steel have a little bit of momentum right now.
Feels like it, and they should. They're back from the dead, or close to it. Chambers, good ball, dangerous one, but off a Bethlehem head and out.
Well, that was...
Or no, it's a corner.
It is a corner.
Pardon me. I spoke too soon. I just assumed, I thought I saw, from our vantage point, the ball off the Bethlehem head. We can show the scuffle, and there was Forbes pushing Chambers. Then Chambers pantomiming blood, even though he wasn't even pushed in the face. Yes, it's all part of it. but a corner for the Steel. Low ball, Dabo handles that one cleanly. And if James Chambers thought he was hated before, it's gone to a whole different level. 114th minute. Make it the 115th minute. The fight's on for the loose ball. Banjo swats it into the midfield.
And this is what I was talking about. They need to string passes together if you're Pittsburgh.
They've had success when they have been patient and trying to build it up.
It's hard to be patient when there's not a lot of time left, but there's you know, with each possession they should be patient. Now they're playing a little direct here.
Greenspan, there it was to Ray Lee, fresh into this match, but he can't track it down. Can the left back?
It's hard to play direct with that wind pushing that direction. Control a ball that's really taken off.
The specter of penalties now rises. We're 5 minutes away, give or take, from that situation. Bob Lilly teams have gone through that in the past. Rochester, in fact, was eliminated by Red Bulls 2 a couple years ago in penalties in the second round. Francois didn't win that argument. Matt Rial will throw in. And here is the referee, Radchuk, trying to play peacemaker between Forbes and Chambers, who want none of it. Well, the man in blue is doing his job, or at least trying to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's going to be any peace even after this one's over with. Greenspan tracking back.
Again, I think Forbes, the Hounds are counting on Forbes. Maybe he needs to come to the ball. He's coming up. He's playing up pretty high now. Without Zemansky out there, I think he's trying. He's the guy that they're looking to.
Banjo, kind of a shifty touch. He hasn't had much opportunity yet. And he leapt into that one, but couldn't find it. Now he pokes it by. Banjo forcing some trouble for Ofemu. Deep throw for the Hounds. Kevin Kerr is getting ready. He's shed the jacket. In the meantime, the Hounds work it again. Francois wanted to win the corner, but could not. And Bethlehem back in possession. They'll try to keep it in play, and they will. Nanko off the give. Nanko's
speed giving a lot of, making things difficult for Roberts there.
He wanted to throw it in to the middle of the surface for Chambers, who was pushed up here. Dabo flags down that ball waist height from Greenspan. Maybe about 4 minutes to go. Holland got it back, but then gave it to Chambers. Into the corner. Lind is on the move, and no trouble with that one. We have our first river ball of the match in the 116th minute.
And Lind living a little dangerously on the edge of the box tonight a few times, but did what he had to do there.
Here comes Kerr. Mr. Riverhound will replace Jordan Dover. Midfielder for wingback Kevin Kerr makes an appearance in the first playoff match at Highmark Stadium. For a while it looked like it might not happen, but the Hounds' second all-time leading scorer has checked in. Age 29 from Scotland. Kerr, ball comes right to him. Sometimes happens that way, and the Riverhounds defend it well.
Well, he had a big moment against Bethlehem Steel last year in a wild 3-2 game. He's had big moments for 6 years, so maybe there's one left for him here.
That's the hope for Bob Lilly and the Riverhounds. Nanko wants to corral it in the corner, does cross. Greenspan ready to get in front of it. Confronting Nanko is Forbes on the takeaway. Thomas Vankiazil. He has Banjo. Banjo tapped it away from pressure. Up ahead, here comes Joe Holland. Holland's in behind. Holland can't get it by McGuire, who slid in and took the worst of that from Holland.
Very dangerous play
there.
And
Holland's in trouble.
That was not.
And so is McGuire. Holland's been shown a red.
Yeah, he came in pretty hard. I think
And here comes the athletic trainer, Akira Umeki.
Yeah, he was going for the ball. I'm sure he was making a real hard effort to he lost control of the ball as he got near into the box.
It was a bad touch.
It was one bad touch. It just got away from him, and then as he and McGuire collided, I mean, he was desperate trying to get to the ball.
Can the drama be any thicker? Joe Holland, yep, there it was with the left foot. He just had it skid away, and then he tried to save it, and McGuire took the absolute worst of that. Spikes up. It appeared, at least. McGuire might be able to recover here.
And, you know, the laws of the game, unfortunately for Joe Holland, are against him right now. It looks like clear studs to the face. And in that case, it's hard to avoid a red card in that situation.
Just the Riverhounds' second red of the season. Both were straight red. Ray Lee at Indy, which was a lot more questionable than this one. This one, as you say, John, it's clear. So Holland is out, and he was that close to being hero. Honestly, John, I thought he was offside, but the flag didn't come up, so it would have stood.
He had tons of time, he had space, but like you said, that one touch, it just kind of got away from him. And I'm not sure who was breaking on the right side. Even if he had a chance, he could have just knocked the ball over, maybe even for a pretty easy goal. But
2 minutes of extra time will be added on to extra time.
Yes, and it got away from him, but you know, the conditions were a bit of a factor. It was definitely a slippery slope out there for him to try to control that ball.
Right, not the easiest time to try to cradle it. And yeah, nerves, adrenaline, they're all a factor there. So the Hounds playing with 10 men. Let's not bury the lead as they try to work the ball out of their own end. Kerr's running sidecar to Banjo, but Banjo, well, he saw Lee, but not a good ball.
Yeah, Kerr's lurking up top there with a lot of energy, and we know what he's done in big moments in the past. So,
well, you also wonder, is he in for PKs as well, right?
Oh, certainly. I certainly could see that.
If we get there. Santi Moar on the outside against Francois. Good ball, but unable to be handled by the Steel. McGuire appears to be all right after that scary collision. Could have been a lot worse. But Jake McGuire now getting booed because, well, the fans assumed that he simulated some of that. And impossible for us to say, of course, being up here, even with the benefit of replay. So we go from breakaway, really, for Joe Holland. He would have had a tough angle, but with his foot, he could have buried one, no doubt, to red card to Holland. And now the Riverhounds having to play a short a man. Francois.
Diagonal ball, dangerous.
Helping on the outside, my goodness. And Moar went in hard against Lind. And they're giving a corner.
And Lind came out for the ball. The Hounds are contesting.
Santi Moar slaps Lind's hand.
It's a goal kick.
Exchange.
It's a goal kick.
Well wishes. Sorry about that. It was a goal kick. The point was inconclusive. And it was off Moar. Maybe there was a negotiation or a discussion with the assistant referee on the far side because, yes, as you see on the replay, clearly off Moar last.
We have to be looking at maybe the last touch or two here.
It was 2 minutes, and there have been some stoppages, but you're right. The Hounds may get one opportunity. Oh, Lind thought it was a foul called, so he has to pull it back to the goal box for the goal kick.
Yeah.
The whistle sounds from referee Michael Radchuk. It's an angry crowd in Pittsburgh, but, well, the home team still has a shot in penalty kicks. 2-2 after 120 at Highmark Stadium. The first playoff game in the history of this facility. We'll go to PKs. We'll keep it right here on ESPN Plus and Pittsburgh CW. I am Matt Geico with John Krasinski alongside. What a night it's been.
Exciting. It's exciting stuff. Pittsburgh has not had a chance to experience this, especially here at Highmark Stadium. So we've had that first opportunity. Now we're going into PKs. You know, as far as drama, it doesn't get any better than that. Some people don't like penalty kicks, you know, but it is what it is. It's soccer. This is what it comes down to. It's a 50-50 proposition. You've got a younger team over there with the Steel. You've got maybe a more veteran team with the Hounds. Maybe that gives the Hounds a bit of an edge in terms of penalty kicks, but at this point, the Hounds have struggled a little bit this year with penalties. I know I was in Cincinnati when Kay Banjo missed his going high.
Recently better,
week,
though. Bernardo Forbes has scored twice on the PK for the Riverhounds this year. And there you see, we'll go 5 rounds, and then if it's still tied, as it was in Cincinnati earlier today, we'll do 1 round at a time, kind of like baseball with extra innings, if you're familiar with that sport. So, well, here are the numbers from the regular season. Pittsburgh's 2 for 4 on the PKs. Forbes scored them both late in the year, in fact. Nico Brett, and Kay Banjo were the other PK takers. Brett's out of the mix. He checked out of the match.
Correct.
In extra time. As for Bethlehem Steel, they are 6 for 6 on PKs this season. And we saw James Chambers bury one here in September. Now Chambers and Forbes exchange handshakes. The 2 captains will discuss the coin toss next.
No more physical confrontations in midfield between those 2 now. It's all about penalties.
It's all about execution, plain and simple. So, John, what would you do if you're a coach? What have you done in the past? If you win the coin flip, you go first?
You're the home team. I think you like to go first. You like to put the pressure on the other team. You know,
I would think so too.
Yeah. Both keepers at midfield too, kind of exchanging pleasantries as well. I think these guys a lot of these guys know each other. Competed at the college level and compete here in USL over the years, and so exciting moments. And we're going to be doing this down on the east side with the Steel Army behind.
It's just perfect, isn't it?
You can't beat this, right?
Well, resetting how we've gotten to this point. Ben Zemansky scored way back in the 25th minute. Feels like it was last year at this point. Michi and Galena tied it in the 70th. The Hounds went ahead in extra time. Hugh Roberts scoring off the scramble in front. 105th minute. That goal came right at the end of the first half of extra time. And then early in the second half of extra time, it was the captain for Bethlehem Steel, James Chambers. A perfect free kick. Now, he had a good spot to kick it from, just outside the 18, inside the arc. But take away nothing from him. It was clinical. And Chambers playing villain very effectively so far. And I have to assume he's going to kick at some point in this shootout.
Certainly, as you said, he had the PK in the game played here in September for the goal. And, you know, that's the veteran that Steel rely on a player like that. You know, a lot of young players around them, and James Chambers, he's going to take the first kick too. Speak of the devil.
Okay, so what's going on here is that since the Hounds finished with 10 men, John,
right,
Bethlehem has to start with a 10-man pool, if you will. So Coach Brendan Burke of Bethlehem takes Ben Ofemu off. And guess who will kick first for the Steel? You could tell from the crowd reaction. James Chambers. 45 will go against Dan Lind right in front of the Steel Army. Dan Lind has not faced a PK this year. Here we go, and it's into the top of the net. Chambers shushes the crowd again. Boy, he's a showman, isn't he, John?
He is walking away nice and slowly and confidently. And guess what? Right, new in the game, Kevin Kerr.
First round of PKs, Kerr.
First the Irishman, now the Scotsman.
Yes, we're sticking to the All-British Isles theme in the first round. Kerr, call him Mr. Riverhound. Does he have one in his back pocket? He does! Kerr! And he exhorts the crowd, 1-1 in the shootout.
Two veterans, Matt. Guys that have been around the block and come through for their team so far.
Hounds fans, Steel fans, they're dying alive at the moment. It could change in just a moment. Chris Nanko.
Guy who really turned the tables of this match. Let's see if he can.
He did. You might give him credit for the comeback, really.
Certainly.
He picked up the pace, and he'll use his right foot here, top of the second. against Lind, and he goes the other way and into the side netting. Lind dove to his right. The kick went to his left. 2-1 Steel. And just firmly placed in that side netting, out.
Just clinical, just right clinical, and even giving the Steel Army a little bit of a gesture as well.
The Army's taking on the chin this evening. Deeper into the night we go.
Is that Forbes?
It is Forbes. Forbes, who is 2 for 2 on the season, will go up against McGuire. The Riverhounds captain cashes in. 2-2.
Nobody's in a hurry here, Matt.
Not at all.
Both players, both teams just taking their time, going back and forth, just adding to the drama, adding to the tension.
Good God, is it thick at the moment.
Absolutely.
But hey, this is fun. This is why we do this. Omar Holness, second half substitute. Actually, extra time substitute. He lines it up, another right footer. No saves yet in the PK shootout. The run up. And off the crossbar and in. 3-2. Holness joins Chambers and Nainco with checks next to their names.
Redemption time for Kay Banjo, who had that miss earlier in the year. He's going to be the next one up for the Riverhounds.
Banjo, and you know he's got to be thinking a little bit about that.
I'm sure his coach has a lot of confidence in him. He had to take one at Cincinnati. I think, you know, this is a great opportunity for him here.
Former player at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. He hails from the capital area. Banjo, beautiful, top right. And he did not leave himself much margin for error.
No doubt about it, though. It was precise, and he got it right where he needed to. Well done, Kay Banjo.
He erases the memories of Cincinnati on Labor Day weekend. In the fourth round, Santi Moar, outstanding in this match.
Which keeper can come up with a stop here? It's going to be,
could be 25-year-old Spaniard, Moar, right up the middle, and Lind lunged to his left.
The former striker for the United States Naval Academy.
Wow, how about this pick from Bob Lilly? Joe Greenspan. It's not a must-make, but it's pretty darn close. The Hound season riding on the next couple of strikes of the ball from the spot to our right. Greenspan, does he have it in him in the fourth round? He does!
Joe goes low. Big Joe goes low, right. McGuire goes right to his right. And we're down to the last kick, just like the FC Cincinnati-Nashville shootout. Both teams have converted all 4 of their first kicks.
Drew Skundrich checked into this match in the 63rd minute. A former member of the Stanford Cardinal, 3-time NCAA champ while he was there. Skundrich coming hard to it, right along the ground and in. And now the Hounds must score to keep their season alive.
It's Francois' turn. And, you know, both teams, just the talent, the ability of these players to just finish in these moments.
Francois, the fan favorite, he's become one. He did become one very quickly in his first Riverhound season. The former Rochester Rhino. Francois wasting no time, and he got it! And we continue on into the 6th round. That's a couple of times the Riverhounds have gone into that side netting with the right foot, in step.
All right, we're beyond the first 5 now, so.
Deeper into the roster we go for both teams. 5 for 5 for both sides. Matt Mahoney, the back, will place it down. Top of the 6th, first round USL Cup playoff match. Here he is, and he scores.
Matt, I think these teams have been practicing their PKs, don't you think?
I think so. Well, we saw plenty of that this week, I know, here at Highmark Stadium. We can speak to that.
Certainly.
Well, 2 rounds ago was Skundrich, the former NCAA champion. Here's another NCAA champion. Thomas Vankiaziel, the NC2A D2 Player of the Year at the University of Charleston. He's been so good in his rookie season, and the season is on his foot, and he's got it. Roof of the goal, clutch performance from Tommy V. We'll go to the 7th round. 6 all in PKs.
We're all just...
And now you wonder, will it be a miss? Will it be a save?
To test the wills here, this is what it comes down to.
Matt Real.
One mistake. That's what happened earlier with Nashville SC. A shot that went a little too high. Now we've finally seen somebody taking it from a left-footed shot here.
Different look for Dan Lind. Matt Real, 19 years old. And Lind, oh, he's reaching up to the heavens. He thought he had a chance, and he did. But he just left his spot enough to give Real the chance to guide it by him.
Mohamed Dabo now.
Dabo not known as a scorer, but he has 1 wonder strike on the year. This year against Tampa Bay a couple of months ago. Again, the season comes down to 1 kick for the Hounds. Francois converted. Vankiaziel converted. It's Dabo, the 22-year-old native of Senegal. Got it. No mistake there, not even a sniff of one from Dabo.
22-year-old, but he's been around the pro level for a few years, and he was composed there. He was completely under control.
Olivier Mbaizo, speaking of youth, 21 from Cameroon. It's his turn now.
What an experience, though, for all these players, a lot of young players, to have this opportunity, this experience to be in this moment. I'm sure the Philadelphia Union appreciate this, for their players to get this type of experience, obviously here in Pittsburgh, the Riverhounds.
Mbaizo the back, hands on hips. In the top of the 8th. Got it, drilled it. And the keepers really haven't come close so far.
Nope.
Not even a piece of a ball has been gotten by the men wearing gloves.
Not even a guess, well, not really anybody guessing right either. But excellent placement. Everybody's been clinical so far. Now it's Ray Lee's turn.
The veteran pro from the state of Missouri against Jake McGuire. Ray Lee, left foot, missed it! And Bethlehem Steel has come out of Highmark Stadium with a penalty kick shootout victory. Lee with his hands on his face. Joe Greenspan comes over to comfort him, but the Steel are moving on, and Bethlehem will play Louisville in the 2nd round next week in Kentucky. The first miss in a season that had so much promise for Pittsburgh. They had 2 leads in this game, but they could not get their noses ahead in the penalty kick shootout. Lee sprays it wide of the left post. And that's it, John. It's cruel, but that's the way it goes in this sport.
They left it to chance, left it to a penalty kick shootout. Unfortunately, at some point in a penalty kick shootout, somebody's going to end up missing one, or a keeper's going to make a great save. And in this case, Ray Lee just went a little too far left on that one.
8-7 is your final in PKs. Officially, the final will go down as 2-2 with the shootout deciding things. And, well, how about this young Bethlehem Steel team? They got rocked here. They got embarrassed, said James Chambers, their captain, last month at this very same facility. But where they bore down in the second half, they came back. They had to come back twice in extra time, too, and got it done. We're going to take a short break on ESPN Plus and the Pittsburgh CW. Thank you so much for being with us. Hope you stick around for the final segment here. Matt Geika and John Krasinski will put a bow on it in just a moment.
The international offerings of the Strip District. Italian cheeses, Polish sausage, and German engineering.
Fresh luxury vehicles are now available in the Strip at the all-new Audi Pittsburgh.
Like the Q5 Premium Quattro from an ultra-low $479 a month. Current owners save $1,000 more, plus $750 additional for your trade at the new Audi Pittsburgh and Audi Washington.
The most important thing to me was that my children were not scarred by me having breast cancer. I just wanted to be mom. And this is mom, and mom is going through something hard, but mom can do it.
For us, we understand like life is so finite. We need to enjoy it now, you know?
Absolutely.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with the region's highest rated health system for women's health, Allegheny Health Network.
Season tickets for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC 2019 season are on sale now. And it's the most affordable season ticket in town. Season tickets start at only $99. Buy before October 31st to lock in early bird pricing. Don't miss any of the action as the Hounds look to follow up their sensational 2018 season at Highmark Stadium. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
The first playoff game in Highmark Stadium history ends with the visitors pulling out a penalty kick win. 8-7. Bethlehem Steel did not miss a single penalty kick, and Pittsburgh has to swallow this one. It'll take a while to get over it. You know that. Thanks for joining us on ESPN Plus and Pittsburgh CW. I'm Matt Geica, along with John Krasinski. It's been our pleasure to be with you. The roller coaster ride. Let's go back and take a look at some of those highlights, though. And there you see the Steel supporters group. Kudos to them for hanging in there and making it to this point. So the Hounds have now lost 7 straight postseason games, but it started off so well. Zemansky with the Riverhounds in control, John, 25th minute.
Yeah, they were doing everything they needed to do to stay on top of this game, but then it got away from them.
Into the box here, and, well, there's the tying goal for Bethlehem. Santi Moar reaching out, sending it across, and the winning goal from Ingalina. But we went to extra time, and this looked like this might be the winner. Holland off the crossbar, bounces down, and Hugh Roberts soaring through the air. Boy, what a picture that must be, with him getting his head to it and putting the Riverhounds ahead at the end of the first half of extra time.
And it was a celebration, but it was a short-lived celebration, unfortunately, for the Pittsburgh fans. As James Chambers, like you said, played the villain well here on the road in Pittsburgh. Bangs it off the post. Just
can't get much more perfect than that.
Yeah, terrific, terrific.
Here's Ray Lee in the 8th round. We can't show you all the PKs,
no.
Unfortunately.
No.
He would be here for a while. And it's a cold night to be shirtless, but they're not feeling any pain right now. Bethlehem Steel FC are moving on to the 2nd round. Here are the other results across the Eastern Conference. Lou City, impressive there. I didn't see that 3-goal win against Indy 11. That's a tough team to break down, but the champions move on. They'll face Bethlehem next week, and we'll see a New York-Cincinnati matchup at Nippert Stadium.
Yeah, Lou City has been playing really well, so this could be a showdown between Louisville City and Cincinnati. I mean, at least the 2 favorites in the East would be a great matchup. But hey, a lot of credit to this Bethlehem Steel team. They showed a lot today.
Well, speaking of playing well late in the year, that's their case too. Mm-hmm. Now, if you count this win in PKs, 9-3-2 since the end of July. And there you see Bob Lilly, well, talking to his team, trying to sum up the season. It still was a raging success for Pittsburgh in many ways, John, just because of how they rose out of being out of the playoffs the last 2 years to 3rd in the East, their best finish ever in USL. So plenty to look back on and be happy about, but for right now, it's tough to absorb.
It's going to be tough, but a franchise, they turned the franchise around this year. It's a winning, they've established a winning culture. You see this shot of the fans celebrate just today coming, a huge crowd, great atmosphere. I think, Matt, I really believe this is just the beginning for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. With Bob Lilly here and a lot of good things happened this year. I think they're gonna build on it.
Well, you have to hope so if you're a Hounds fan. Thank you so much all season long. It's been my pleasure to be with you. One last time from Highmark Stadium. Good night, and we'll talk to you next year.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.